Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
F it. We got to go ahead and get some. Welcome to the Programski. What we call around here the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. We've hit the halfway mark for the work week. How you doing over there, Josh?
Very well, thank you.
Light of my life.
How about yourself?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Let me ask you something.
We started better than we did yesterday.
Days without an incident? 0. Or 1. Yeah, 1. One day since the incident.
Up to 1.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to leave you hanging once we started. You hit the intro just to have you freak out, Dana, as to what the hell's going on. Nothing's working.
Oh, God, they're not talking. What's going on? Is it early? Am I completely spacewalking again?
That was good yesterday.
That was fun.
There's a lot of laughs. A lot of laughs. Josh, have you started doing any cleaning?
I have,
for
yes.
spring. You know how folks get involved in that. You clean the salt and sand out the garage. You shovel up the mountains of dog feces out in the... you have started with some things?
Oh, yeah. Just last weekend,
Yeah.
we went for it.
Maybe you fire up the mower, a little bit of this and that. You get the mower.
Don't need to do that yet.
You don't need to tune up the mower?
Oh, tune it up? Get it ready to go? No,
Yeah.
It's fine.
Get it ready to go.
We got an electric one last year.
Oh.
Nice.
Fancy.
Oh, electric.
Yeah.
How's that work?
That's all right. I missed the other one, to be honest with you.
Miss that smell of gasoline?
Yeah, I kind of the one I gave you, Nick. I had that for many years.
Yeah, you gave me a push mower, a gas.
Yeah, just
push
your
mower.
standard mower.
Oh, okay, right. So you gave me that because you had bought an electric.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd heard good things.
So you don't need to, you just got, what do you have to do? Just charge it up?
Charge it and you're good to go.
Charge it up.
Sharpen the blade.
Sure.
Easy enough. But yeah, we started some pretty good spring cleaning just last weekend.
I love doing spring cleaning.
I do
It feels
too.
so good.
I mean, I get, like, I don't necessarily like to get off the couch, but it's
Right.
good to get that done.
Once you get started, then you're good, but it's the starting that's difficult.
Well, the thing about these yard projects I've realized, because I lived in an apartment from the time I was a freshman in college until about a year ago, I learned these spring projects, you got to do them every year. Like, you can't just do them one spring and then you're good. You got to keep doing them. And there's not going to be anybody that comes over and does it for you when you live in an apartment building.
That reminds me of something my uncle told me before I moved out for the first time. And my uncle, also very lazy, runs in the family.
Uncle Wallet?
No, different uncle.
Oh.
This is Uncle Dan. Before I moved out, Dan said, hey, just so you know, when you move out and that cereal bowl you leave next to the recliner, now when you come home, it's gone. Somebody picked it up and put it in the sink. It's going to be there when you get back once you move out. He gave me advice like that. And he's also the same guy. Oh, I must have been 27 or 28, so he was late 50s. He called and asked me how to microwave a hot dog. Same type of guy.
So he knew some things. There were other
He
things.
had great advice in some ways, yeah.
He was completely lost on other subjects. Yeah, it can be a massive pain in the ass this time of year. And then, of course, fall.
Feels good when it's done.
Sure. I was chuckling my ass off here reading some information about spring cleaning. And it reminded me a couple of friends of mine talking about the garage specifically. It says here, if you haven't converted your garage into an Airbnb yet, that's a thing? Is that a joke or is that really a thing?
I guess some people do that.
I guess it depends on the climate.
It'd have to be a hell of a garage to be able to advertise it online as an Airbnb, wouldn't it?
When I used to landscape, the company I worked for, they did a lot of rich houses, and there were some garages that you could easily move into and it'd be nicer than your home.
Yeah, it'd have to be pretty fancy schmancy. Okay.
They're in the Shorewood area.
Shore
Oh, yep.
Wood. Yeah, I've been out that way. If you haven't converted your garage into an Airbnb yet, there's a good chance it's full of junk. So 31% of Americans say their garage is at least half filled with clutter. And that includes 9%, and here's where I was picturing a couple of sorry-ass friends of mine. 9% said their garage is so full they can't even park in it.
I do know people like that, too.
I would go insane. I would have an instant meltdown.
My garage has been like that since we moved in almost, probably a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now.
You're having trouble unpacking? Some people have trouble with the unpacking.
Well,
I'm
here's the thing,
instantaneous.
Nick.
You know this when we go on a vacation or something like that. I'll unpack before we do anything else, and I'll put things in drawers.
Dude, I do the same thing, and I get made fun of for that.
So do I.
Sorry.
I hang things up.
I
just
cannot.
like things to be nice.
If it's a week trip or 2 days, even a 1 day trip, I got to get everything back in its place as soon as I get home. Where my wife is the opposite. So what are you saying now? Your garage is still choked with junk.
Well, it's finally getting better because with having a baby on the way, the garage needs to be cleared out so that some of the stuff inside
That's where you're gonna
can
keep
go
the
into
baby?
yes, it can go into the garage. But the thing about this is that when we moved into the house in Coon Rapids,
Sure.
I told my fiance, hey, he had a bunch of stuff, a bunch of extra furniture that we weren't going to use. And I was like, let's get a dumpster because I know what's going to happen here. It's going to go into the garage and it's going to sit there for at least a year, 2 years. It's just going to keep going.
Right.
And he's like, no, that's not going to happen. Don't worry. We'll get rid of it once it's moved over there. Nope. Here we are a year and a half, 2 years later, and it's finally being done, though. So I'm proud of him for that, at least.
You have not been able to get into the garage since you moved in there because of the junk.
No, and I've never
That sucks.
parked in a garage, so I don't know what that would be like.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It sounds
it's the
really
way to go.
nice.
It's nothing but laughs.
Not brushing off your car in the winter.
That's one of my favorite things of living in the suburbs is being able to park in a garage.
Yeah, actually, anytime you talk about your garage situation, it pisses me off because I have to park on the street out of necessity. We just have one-car garage. I obviously let my wife have the garage. I park on the street, and you have a garage, and you still have to scrape your car because you're too lazy to clean the damn thing out.
we have a 2-car garage too.
God dang it.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Dana, you're currently in a situation where you park on the street, you let the wife have the garage.
Yep.
It's a one-car garage.
One-car garage, yeah. About 1.5. There's no way you get 2 cars in there. It's good size, but yeah, it's just a one-car thing.
So can you put stuff in the half, or is it not really a half?
No, there's tons of every yard equipment you could ever possibly picture, and a Metrodome chair in that garage too.
Nice.
Yeah, it is fun.
I had a 1.5-car garage at a townhouse I lived in, and I mean that was being generous.
That was just exaggerated.
You could fit the garbage and recycling in there, and that's about it.
9% of it, I'll get there. 9% of us is what I was trying to say. The garage is so full of garbage, junk that they can't even park in it. I've gotten a kick out of seeing a couple of my friends. You know, you're over at their place and they roll open the garage door, and it looks as if you should rush up and hold everything. You know what I mean? It looks like it's just going to tip forward onto the driveway. We should rush up and hold everything in place. I could not live that way. 24% of us say their garage is clutter-free.
I don't like having too many things. I'm a thrower-outer. That's my personality type. I'm a thrower-outer. If I have something, I really don't want it. I wish there was a store where I could buy something, pivot, and just throw it down a chute into an incinerator, walk out, no bags. That's my perfect shopping experience.
I'm the same way.
Dice. Andrew Dice Clay?
Yes.
I remember that old record. We have a lot of junk. We do, in general, we Americans. And says here we use a significant portion of our home for storage. I have a great situation at my current home as far as storage. There's plenty of it. If you don't, you end up putting a lot of it in the garage, and that's how it starts.
I'd love a shed. Just don't know if it's in the cards.
I've had 2 already. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
I forgot about
Hopefully, Josh, when you get one, you can keep that sumbitch for years and years and years, as opposed to having a giant tree fall on it.
Yeah, I've learned to keep it away from trees after your experience. How long did you have that thing? About a year, even?
Something like that. Then here comes a big, fat-ass, stupid tree out of nowhere, lands on the roof of my brand-new shed.
Didn't it take out a fence, too? Or maybe I'm thinking of
The
another
fence was
buddy.
too tough.
Was it?
2 trees came down at once. Once landed on the fence, and the fence said, I ain't going out like that. The fence was tough. The shed said, and just gave way like a zit on prom night.
There
Just
were no survivors.
Luckily, everything in the shed somehow was salvageable. Yeah, go ahead. Get that shed, Josh. It's beautiful.
Oh, I want one.
But just cross your fingers that Mother Nature doesn't want to bend you over one afternoon
I have
and
a
take
shed.
it away from you.
I have a shed, but the problem is that the garage is closer than the shed. So I'd rather just put stuff in the garage or in a closet somewhere.
Oh, I'd take full advantage of that shed.
There's a couple things in there, but I did not put them in there.
The extra junk, that's a conversation at my house a lot. Whether I think people have too many clothes, and sometimes I'll point out my area of the closet, your area of the closet. It's ridiculous. I want to offer tours just so you can see how much stuff I have compared to the 2 other people I live with. It's ridiculous.
Do you at least have a section in the master bedroom in which you get to put your clothes, Josh?
I do.
I do not.
She has that many, or you just don't have the space?
3 closets in the master bedroom area, and all my clothes and dresser is in one of the guest bedrooms.
Hey, Dana.
Yeah.
Don't be a punk your whole life.
I wish
right.
that was my life.
Don't be a punk your whole life. Stand your ground at one point or another. That's ridiculous.
My God, I have so many clothes compared to my fiance. It is ridiculous. And I just got rid of a bunch, and there's still so many.
I'm going to have you guys over this summer. At least I'm going to invite you, and I hope you show up.
Yeah, you keep teasing us with that, and then it never happens.
Well, because all of a sudden, be like, all right, here we're going to have you guys over, and my friggin' living room flooded. It's always it's always these big things that happen.
Or you catch some Brazilian disease that
true.
no one else in town.
That's canceled 2 things, right?
Yeah, you catch some disease every 2-3 months.
Yeah, exactly. So there's always been, but I really want you guys to come over, and I'd love, if you want to see it, I'd love to show you my area compared to the family's area.
So you encourage folks quite frequently, hey, you could probably get rid of that. You could probably get rid of that.
All the time.
Yeah, me too.
So here's an example. Like, a buddy of mine's a contractor, and right now he has a place he's working at, and they can't keep a dumpster. So I said, you can throw it in my driveway. I'll just pay half and then get a bigger one than you need, and I can chuck some stuff. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah. It's always great to have a dumpster on your property.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But my wife, I can't make decisions on it, right? Like, I've told her before, if she's like too tired when she gets home from work or whatever, I'm trying to get her to help me out. I can't just decide, unless it's my own stuff, I can't decide in the house what we can get rid of.
You gotta, as a friend of mine would say, you gotta clear it with the War Department.
I do, yeah.
Yes.
I have to run it by her.
The War Department. So that sucks. So you sit there in limbo.
Yeah.
You
So
have
we started, and so I'll say, because all this, she'll say, oh, we might need that someday. Like, we've been married 17 years. We've never used it, ever. There's no way we'll need it. We'll just buy a new one if that's the case.
People are nuts. This is a great text message from Butcher's Hack Jesus talking about some of us, our entire garage is filled with junk. Butcher's Hack Jesus says, the only way his garage is still standing is because of the junk. The junk is holding his garage into place. Without the junk, the garage would go.
That's load-bearing junk right there.
Right.
You know what else we have? We've got, so most of the stuff we have is really, so my youngest, my wife, and my stepdaughter. My oldest, Cam, he's like me, we're minimalists. We just don't really have a lot of stuff, don't really want a lot of stuff.
Right.
But so my stepdaughter will do things like, hey, like she'll leave our neighborhood or something. Somebody's giving away a big chair. It's just sitting there and says free. Can you guys grab it for when I move out? So we've got a garage that's half full of all this furniture. Mice are living in there.
Yeah.
It's been sitting there forever, and I keep asking, is this ever going to leave our garage? Can we please get rid of this stuff? And we have a storage facility for that as well.
You have a storage facility somewheres in town.
That I'm tired of paying for, yeah.
Your stepdaughter could move in with me if she wants to.
You got to knock that off. You're married. She's a little too young for you.
Dude.
But this August, supposedly they'll be renting a house where I can just get rid of all that stuff.
So you can send
I can't wait.
Send all of her garbage over to the new house she's moving into.
Her garbage can go to her.
I'm so glad you brought up the idea of putting something. How often do you ever put something out on the, how do you call it, the end of your driveway, on the sidewalk, whatever, with a free sign on it?
I've never done it.
I haven't either.
Okay, I've done
Usually
it.
I'll just bring it to whoever accepts whatever that is.
Throw it away. Well, yeah, sure. I think I've done it a couple of times. Nothing, not often enough to where I haven't any idea, any memory of what those items were. But I have a recent adventure on that subject matter. So the wife tells me, she says, what did she say now? She said, hey, I'm selling these stools on
Facebook Marketplace?
No, keep going.
Well, Craigslist?
My Neighborhood Showdown or something?
Oh, shoot.
Neighbors
with an N.
banging neighbors. Whatever.
Next door.
Next door, yeah.
Next door, that's it, right. She says, I'm selling these stools that were in our house on Next Door. So can you bring them out to the end of the driveway for me? The people who have agreed to purchase these stools will be swinging by, right? I said, okay. So I put the stools at the end of the driveway. I went on with my life. I think I went downstairs in the house. And then I heard some activity upstairs. I decided to walk up and find out what's going on. Turns out the people who agreed to purchase those stools and who had already paid for it via Venmo or whatever, right?
Yep.
They came over to pick them up. Some bitches were gone.
No.
Yeah. So they come to the door. My wife had a conversation or an email conversation, whatever, with these people, and they agreed. They had already paid via Venmo. They're just going to roll up, put them in the vehicle, and leave with these stools. But instead, they had to come to the door. They knock on the door, and they say to my wife, well, where are the stools? And she says, well, they're right there at the end of the
What?
She wasn't like watching the stool. She was in her bedroom doing something, and so somebody snatched those stools off of our property because they thought we had put them out there as if to say, go ahead, take these. We don't want them anymore. No. There was no sign that said free on the damn things.
That's usually what you do.
Yes, and I just said, what the hell is wrong with people? You don't. Yes, they were on the end of my driveway, but they were still on my driveway.
Well, I've got some stools they can have. If you want to contact those people, I'll send a picture, and they can have mine.
So I'll talk to the wife, the War Department. So these people drove away all disappointed. My wife is kind of slightly creeped out by the whole thing. Maybe an hour or two had gone by.
Whoa.
And somebody rolled by, saw the stools, and thought, well, they're at the end of the driveway. They must be giving them away. And they took them. There was no free sign on them. That just aggravated the balls off of me.
My mom did something like that once. She called me and she said, oh, I got this set of golf clubs. Somebody had it at the end of their driveway. Do you want to pick through them? And I asked her, was there a sign that said free or anything? No, but clearly they were giving them away. I was like, Mom, I don't know about that.
They might be getting ready to load the car up with their clubs.
You should have checked this out a little bit further. But yes, I will go through them.
To ask your mother if she was on the high side of Wyzetta recently. So, it was just aggravating that somebody would do that, but we're all so friggin' different now. And we, the stools were in decent shape. My wife stood to make a few bucks on the damn things, but the deal is off because some bonehead snatched them right off our property.
I could see the confusion. I bet if they were up closer to the house, they wouldn't assume they were for free.
I'm sure you're right.
But at the end, I could see them being confused. I could see that being a completely innocent mistake. Thinking,
but if there is not a sign that says free on them, why would you assume maybe I'm just giving these stools some air?
Beer Brewing and Drinking Jesus said he had a buddy trying to get rid of a fridge. He put it on the curb with a note that said free, nobody touched it. So he told him, hey, it's because people think free means broken. So his friend put a $10 sign on it, and someone stole it immediately. I've heard that before.
Good idea.
I've heard that, and sometimes maybe you price something higher than it even should be, and then that's kind of what gets people to go for it.
I'm sure you're right, Josh. I'm sure if they would have been a little closer to the front door of our home, nobody would have walked up and taken them. And so my wife was kind of kicking herself. She's like, God dang it, why did I tell you to bring them so far down the driveway? We should have just... But I said, don't be badgering yourself over this. It is absolutely wrong and ridiculous that anybody took those stools without a free sign on them.
They probably thought they hit the jackpot that day.
I hope they fall off the stool and get a concussion somehow. That just aggravated the... One more statistic here for you, and this one also had me chuckling earlier. We started this conversation on the junk that we keep in our garage. Some folks load it with so much garbage and nonsense because they're hoarders or for whatever reason. They load it up with so much junk that they can't even get a car in there. So let me see if I can throw this statistic at you and make it clear to you. 71% of people have bought something they knew they already had because they couldn't find the original. You follow what I mean by that, Ashley?
I'm sure I've done that.
You know, hey, where the hell is that popcorn maker? I don't know. With all the junk we have around the house, I don't know. But I know it's here somewhere. They just went out and bought a new one because they couldn't find the original.
I do that with the spices all the time.
Yeah, sure.
My wife does that with groceries. She doesn't look before she goes to buy stuff.
Oh.
And the other day we had like 40 apples. And I do have an apple every day because I'm trying to keep Dr. P out of our building, but it's not working.
Apple a day, they say.
And then she's done that with like yogurt. There's stuff that goes bad, you know. Like we can't have all this stuff here.
Why can't she make that mistake with Doritos
Right.
or
It's gonna last a while.
Snicker bars? We're overloaded with apples and yogurt. Oh God!
I get it though because there's nothing worse than getting home after the grocery store and realizing you forgot something that you desperately needed. Because I'm not going back. I'm not doing all that.
I've got some stuff, Nick, I'd like to put at the end of your driveway if it's that good at getting rid of stuff.
Yeah, it's
decent stuff. I just don't want to chuck it.
It seems to work. If you want it gone, put it at the end of my drive. Listen to these people, buck nuts, Jesus. End of the driveway is free game.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
No, you're wrong.
I mean, honestly, I might think the same thing, that it was free, or it was on its way to, like the Epilepsy Foundation in Minnesota. You know, they take clothing and stuff like that.
You don't just assume it's free because it's towards the end of my driveway. No, I'm sorry.
Where I grew up in Minneapolis, sometimes like your car parked in the end of your driveway, some people thought that was free. Our garage was broken into enough because it was in the back and the end of our driveway.
Jesus criminy, what's the matter with you people?
Our neighborhood has one of those buy nothing groups where you post things online. You're saying, hey, I'm either going to throw this away or donate it. Could anybody put use to it? You know, a crock pot or, you know, similar things like that. And sometimes my wife will put things on there and it's like, do we really want somebody coming to our house that wants a used set of measuring spoons?
Yeah, I don't know why you're communicating with all these complete strangers online in the first place.
And then I'll be taking a nap and somebody will be coming to the door to get, you know, like an extra package of paper plates or something. Do we really want these people knowing where we live and showing up at all hours of the day to get random knickknacks from us? It's kind of a little unsettling.
Yeah, stop communicating with all these strangers. You're going to get yourself killed.
And it reminds me, too.
All right, that was a little dramatic.
It was, but no, it reminded me of another story, though, back in the day, speaking of communicating with strangers online. You know when you do things when you're young and you look back and you're like, how did I survive that? I used to communicate with grown men and meet with them at, say, the gas station to exchange wrestling VHS tapes. Trade them.
Yeah, Dana.
When I was like 12 years old, riding my bike to a Burger King to exchange SummerSlam old VHS tapes with strangers. How I didn't end up in the back of a trunk dead, I'll never know.
You have been hurt.
That is so sketchy, dude.
I know. I mean, like the early days of the internet, too, actually, when there's like zero protection or able to track these people down or suss people out, I would just, he's got WrestleMania 10? Yeah, I'll go meet you at Snyder's.
Man, I'm surprised you didn't end up on Dateline.
We usually will just go like to the police station.
That's what I've heard is a new thing.
They'll let you do
a lot more safer than meeting a random dude at a fast food joint.
Or you can use one of those like Amazon locker deal situations that they got going on.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure if you can use like actual Amazon. I just know that they're like that. They're those kind of lockers. My grocery store has some.
Listen to this.
For just selling stuff online or donating stuff?
Yeah, for selling stuff.
I never heard of that. That's great.
Yeah.
We got people arguing back and forth.
Smart.
people arguing back and forth on our text machine about, what's the international waters on your property? What's the neutral zone? If you push an item to the edge of your property, is it free game? I'll go to my grave believing that it better have a free sign on it before anybody takes it away. And again, these stools I was telling you about were at the end of, not on the curb, not on the street. They were on my driveway. Yes, it was the end of my driveway, but they were still on my driveway. And somebody took them. And there was no free sign on them. We meant to sell these stools, and people are going back and forth. Listen to this story. Neighbors stole all of my son's toys when he was lining them up at the end of the driveway.
That's horrible.
Little kid, I'll put my gorilla doll here. I'll put my 4x4 truck here. Little kids doing little kids things, and neighbors took them because they thought they were friggin' free. My wife and I had to go up and down the street getting all of his toys back from the people in our neighborhood.
That's awful.
What?
We work in a building where no matter what, it's free game. It hasn't been as bad, maybe because we went from like a couple hundred people to 36. That could be a part of it.
All the stealing?
All the stealing around here was ridiculous. There was no... It was never where, I could see how somebody would assume that was up for grabs. Like if there's 40 cupcakes sitting on the big table outside the studio, if you walk by, you could probably grab a cupcake. But when we had the Xbox, the TV, headphones, we've had so many things stolen around here. It's crazy.
The sex doll?
Oh, yeah, the sex doll. That was an expensive sex. We never even got to consummate the relationship.
That bums me out every time it gets brought up.
Top of the line sex doll. Top of the line. For how many years ago was this now? 15 years ago?
Yeah, at least.
Top of the line, best sex doll you can buy. Josh and I spent hours selecting her appearance.
We made rules about who could use what half and things like we had shared custody.
Beautiful. We were going to destroy this thing. Sometimes individually, sometimes together. And it was stolen right out of the building. Not a word. Still a complete mystery. So many of you are texting in saying the end of your driveway or the front of your property is free game. Now, are you just trying to piss me off? You don't really believe that, do you?
I think that's kind of common.
It is.
Without a free sign on it.
So
I would never do that.
I wouldn't, just in case, for that reason. But I could see somebody innocently making that mistake.
That's insane. You're insane if you think you can just grab something off someone's property without a free sign on it. You're insane. Here's a guy who said, it's my friggin' property. There are no international waters. Another listener says, someone takes something off my driveway, I'm going to snap their D off. But you really do think, the people who are texting in, you really think that just because it's pushed to the front of my property and there's no sign on it that it's open game? You got to be nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That texter that said it's my property, that should be enough. It's on my property still.
Right. You got to be nuts. Later on this morning, we'll give our listeners another shot at some free advice. We are putting a free sign on this. This will belong to you if you want it.
Yeah, you can take this one.
We'll give our listeners another shot at some free advice from a veterinarian. Dr. Andrea Johnston from a joint called Gurman Animal Hospital will be stopping by at 8:20, and you'll get a chance to text in and ask her a question about your dog or your kitty. And she also will delve into other types of pets, but dogs and kitties are her
expertise.
Expertise.
Strong forearm Jesus on the topic of things at the end of the driveway. This is his advice. It's item dependent. Chairs, free. A motorcycle, better ask. It's at the end of your driveway. Can I just take this, or?
You at least better ring the doorbell and find out if anybody's home.
Now, that basketball hoop's about midway up the driveway. Is that fair game?
Some of you folks, man, I'm telling you, making me crazy. All right, I suppose we could take a break. It's going to be a hell of a day, along with Dr. Andrea, of course, Randy Shaver, and stinking Pete Hot Pants. What the hell?
Brad Ryder?
Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder will be talking to us at 7:30, and there's plenty to cover. So we'll take a break. We'll get to that stupid news report here in a minute.
Idly ho, neighborinos. 93X.
Half-assed morning show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks as always for listening to the podcast, and of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil.
I wish you health, physical, mental, emotional, financial, social, and most definitely spiritual.
Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret.
But hear me when I say this. Believe in something. Believe in yourself. That, more than anything, is absolutely woman's work.
This is Women's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
We've been having a spirited conversation around here this morning. A lot of text messages coming in. We always appreciate it. 651-989-9393 is how you get a hold of us. Here's what happened to me recently. So my wife sold some stools on some silly website, social media type thing. Some people paid her via this social media site. And these people agreed to swing by our house and pick up these stools. So the wife tells me, big, strong man of the house, Josh.
Yeah, you are.
She says, haul these stools down towards the end of the driveway. I sold them to these people, and they're going to stop by later. They're going to take the stools. I said, okay. So I put them down towards the end of the driveway. Hour goes by. The people show up to pick up the items that they purchased, and the items are gone because some schmuck in my neighborhood assumed, this is my guess, they assumed that because these stools were towards the end of my driveway that they were free. There was no sign on the stools saying free, but they took them anyway. There are quite a few people in our listening audience who are using this excuse. Hey, if it's at the end of your driveway, it's free game. And they're noting all kinds of, some people are noting, legalities and whatnot. I doubt the people who took these stools off our property were, had the city handbook on them and were, playing off of the legalities of it. It was just, they assumed it was free and grabbed it. Now, plenty of texts. I think that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. It shouldn't matter where I put anything on my property. If you want it that badly, you should come to my door, knock on the door, and ask, okay? But people are saying, oh, it's your fault. You put it at the end of the drive. That's free. It means free. Okay, here's some text. We had more than one person with a story like this. My ex-mother-in-law ran her mower out of gas when she was mowing along her curb. In the time she went to her shed to get more gas, someone came along and thought the mower was set out there for free.
There was a guy that texted in and said his dad was mowing and went to the back. And while his dad was mowing the backyard, someone stole his trimmer that he had left in the driveway.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's insane.
Maybe I shouldn't call it stealing. They took it, whether or not they thought they were stealing it or they thought, hey, this is free.
Some of this could just be straight up stealing, but a lot of it, is...
Could be very innocent, just didn't realize it.
You're just so stupid if you do something like that because you can tell if someone's doing yard work.
Right. Another guy says, I was cutting the lawnmower ran out of gas down by the road, had to run to the gas station, came back, the mower was gone. At my dad's farm, a listener says, he loaded a bunch of stuff on a trailer, put it at the end of the driveway with a free sign on it. Someone threw all the junk on the ground and took his trailer. I love this question about the stools. towards the end of my driveway. Why didn't you put a sign on it that said not free? A not free sign? Because I made the mistake of assuming people knew how to mind their own business. I guess that's why I didn't put a not free. Here's a listener who put his basketball hoop down at the end of the driveway. Someone took it, assuming it was free, assuming he was looking to get rid of it. Dude gets a hold of this person, and they refuse to give it back.
Was their logic finders keepers?
Their logic was what we're hearing this morning, that it was at the end of your driveway. That means it's free. And this guy says he's had to file charges against this person because the guy says, no, it's mine. It's at the end of your driveway. I don't understand. I don't understand. If it does not have a free sign on it, why don't you walk up to that person's door and ask them?
I don't think that's going to hold up in court either. I thought it was free.
Others are texting, it's not free unless it's next to your garbage cans. If there isn't a sign on something, you should knock on the door and ask. So this is the conversation we've been having. It's a lot of fun.
This is funny. This person said, I had some stuff at the end of the driveway for free. One guy took everything, even though the sign said free. I don't know why, but that pissed me off. Yeah, you can't hog all the free stuff. This person says, how do you like the new honey chicken at Chipotle? I love it. It's great. This is unrelated to what we're talking about, but yeah, give it a shot.
Oh, I still haven't tried that.
That's just great.
Someone said one day I was tanning at the end of my driveway and someone drove by and chirped me. They stole my dignity at the end of the driveway.
God.
There was this time, a couple buddies were staying with me for a weekend. This is probably about 10, 15 years ago. And they walked down the street to go get coffee. And they come back, and I hear the commotion. I lived on the top of a duplex, the second story. And they're walking up the stairs, and hearing all this rattling. And they came back, they were carrying a foosball table. A perfectly, nicely conditioned foosball table. I'm like, well, what, did you buy it? Was it a garage sale? No, it was just sitting in the alley. I'm like, are you sure somebody didn't just unload that and was waiting to bring it to their car? And they're like, I don't know. It's yours now, though. And I'm like, bring that back.
Did they bring it back, or did you keep it?
I kept it.
I was trying to think. We were talking about this earlier. I was trying to think of other items that I have put at the end of my property in past years and put a free sign on it. And one of them was a ping pong table. It was your ping pong table, Josh.
Oh, really?
Remember the ping pong table you gave to me?
Yes.
Which was beautiful for a short period of time, because then we were still young and we would get drunk and spill beer all over it. And it became a little crappy. I put that at the end of my driveway with a free sign on it, and within hours, some college kids came and snatched it up.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
I thought I was dad of the year a couple years ago. I got my son, your godson, I got him Papa Shot.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a great gift. If I was a kid, I would love Papa Shot.
Oh, hell, I loved it as an adult.
I even got a side-by-side one.
Sure.
So he could play with his buddies.
Sure.
Doesn't appreciate it at all. So I'm giving it to a mutual friend.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, what a dick. This is hilarious. I used to deliver lube by the truckload. Jesus said his cousin would only take the free sign.
That's cute.
Hey, it says free on it. I got to find the dishwasher dude, Jesus. I want to find this. He took me on a journey this morning. He said my mom, my Josh's mom.
Your mom.
Yep, had a free sign on herself. I just tipped her, though. Just the tip. Ha, 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 ha. Just kidding. I went balls deep.
What?
Oh, my God. That was a journey, Josh.
And that was a series of texts, so I'm following along as they're coming in, and it got worse and worse and worse.
So do some of you just drive around on a Sunday and search for free items or something that you assume to be a free item at the end of people's properties?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I know you're kind of like a garage sale, folks. I've got some friends that love garage sales.
I do too.
They'll go every weekend. They can get to a garage sale they like to go. And garage sales are sure different.
Well,
I very rarely go, but I remember as a kid we'd have garage sales and it'd be 5 cents for this, $1 for this, nothing really more than a couple of bucks. Now you're paying like legit prices for stuff.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well, that's the problem now, because everybody knows what everything's worth. You used to be able to go find some old great finds and maybe some vintage video games and stuff, but you can just type in on eBay, find out what something's worth, and price it accordingly.
I was recently looking for a dresser, and I thought, oh, let me check out Facebook Marketplace. Find a cheaper one. It'll be used, so I'm sure it'll be cheaper. I was better off just buying a brand new one. They were all priced at exactly what you would get for them at the store. I thought, all right, this is useless now.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. We had a giant old wooden dresser, like a really heavy, really old dresser. And my one of the kids decided, this is going to be a project. We're going to sand this sucker up. We're going to refurbish it. It's going to be beautiful, and then we'll sell it. That thing sat in my garage for about a year. It got sanded, partially sanded, and that was it.
Yeah.
Just made it worse.
Get your own house.
All right. Here we go with our midweek Stupid News report, and we've got a hell of a route to take for our very first story of the day, a story out of Spain. I'm going to tell you about this lady. What song? Madeleine, what band winger, what album winger, what year? 1988. She's been dishonest, and her dishonesty is going to cost her big time. That much is for sure. Again, a story out of Spain. For the last 16 years, she's pretended to be mute in order to collect a disability pension.
I bet there's a lot of people who wish their spouses would pretend to be mute, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Mine being one of them.
Your spouse wishes you'd be silent?
Yeah.
Do you just always running your yap up and down? Is that how it goes over there?
Mm-hmm.
God.
So how does it work in your relationship? Because it seems like if there's a big talker, there's somebody that is not a big talker. That they kind of pair up.
I guess we were kind of evenly matched, but, I sit around home alone all day, and then when she gets home, I just feel like I need to unload every single thought that's crossed my brain the last, 5-6 hours while she was at work.
Yeah, you got to share it? Mm-hmm. I forget instantaneously. I have to make notes. All right, I take back what I said, Dana, about you looking like Mike Reno in 30 years. This texter says, Dana looks like Mike Reno now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, I'm looking at pictures now. I can see it. I'll give you a tip.
Yeah, look at today Mike Reno.
Yeah.
You can't look at 80s Mike Reno.
But yeah. Mike Reno is such a pimp.
Oh, dude. I wish you could sing like him.
Yeah, I wish I could sing like him, too. Yeah, when he was young, he was this slim, handsome cat, lover boy, had some hit records in the early 80s. Couple of my buddy's older sisters, Josh, they had his poster up on the wall. They wanted to fire Mike Reno into the weeds right now.
Oh,
right?
I bet.
So fast forward about 25 years, we went to see him in concert. And one of my buddy's older sisters, this was her first Loverboy show, and she was so excited. She said, I had his poster on my wall. I love their songs, but I never got a chance to see them. So she's just antsy leading up to the show. And I said to her before they took the stage, I said, have you seen Mike Reno lately? Because the guy, he put on a lot of weight, like we all do. I'm not picking on the guy. Nature took over. He put on some friggin' weight. Give the guy a damn break, right? So I said, have you seen him? And she said, no, I haven't seen a Loverboy video or anything since I was in high school. And I said, well, just let me know what you think, right? So they take the stage, and Mike Reno, he's big. And she's watching, and she's watching, and she's watching. And they went through about 3 or 4 songs, and she turned to me, and she said, I still would.
Yeah.
And that's when I said to myself, it's good to be Mike Reno.
Yeah.
All right. For the last 16 years, this gal in Spain has pretended to be mute in order to collect a disability pension. But the jig is up, and she's going to have to take her medicine. Here's the deal. Back in the year of 2003, she was working at a supermarket when she was attacked by a customer. The same thing happened to Booker T 20-some years ago on an episode of WWE SmackDown. But it wasn't a customer that attacked Booker T. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That grocery store is never the same.
Oh, it was in a grocery store?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing happened. She was working at a supermarket, and if I remember right, the line was, price check on jackass. Anyway, the Spanish lady was working at a supermarket 2 decades ago. A customer attacked her in one way or another. She was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and she lost her ability to speak. which sounds awful. Social Security upped and granted this lady a permanent disability pension. But because this was a work-related incident, an insurance company was ruled to be responsible for the costs of her pension. Fair enough so far, right?
Yeah.
Years later, the insurance company reviewed her case, which is normal procedure, from what I understand, and found some irregularities. Irregular enough to go ahead and hire a private detective to look a little closer at this lady with the no talkie talk, right? Some of what the private detective found out was like this. None of the doctors, I don't know why I went down. None of the doctors that the lady had visited over the years, ever since this attack and she lost her ability to speak, none of the doctors that the lady had visited over the years, including an ophthalmologist, an orthopedist, a dermatologist, none of them had noted her inability to speak in their records. Even a psychiatrist that the woman visited once or twice thought maybe she was pulling a fast one.
I could bust you so quick, Nick, if you wanted to pull this scam, if I really wanted to.
How so?
Easily. We'd go to, Porcello's? What's that hot dog place called?
Oh, yeah, Porcello's.
Go to Porcello's, and I'll say, he's mute. Can you put extra ketchup on his hot dog? There's no way you could stay silent.
I would just be...
Yeah, he doesn't,
son of a bitch, no!
He doesn't know it yet, but we're on our way to an Adam Sandler movie at the theater.
Oh, no way I'm keeping my yap shut.
Nah, you can't do it.
All right. The private detective followed this supposedly mute lady around town for a while and saw that she speaks normally out on the street. She chats with other mothers outside her children's schoolhouse. She uses her cell phone without any problems, and she even jaw jacks up and down with the other dorks at her Zumba classes, whatever that means. Zumba. Finally, to prove without a shadow of a doubt that the woman could speak, the private detective approached her on the street one day and asked her for directions on how to get Summers. She fell right into his trap, and she very eloquently explained the directions in perfectly articulated Spanish. Dude recorded the conversation, and it was all over for this gal. The insurance company took legal action against her, and now, not only is she very likely going to have to pay back every dime she made over the last 16 years through her disability scam, she's going to be fined upside down and backwards for unlawfully collecting benefits for a non-existent condition.
I wonder if that's fun. If that's being a... Sorry. I thought you heard my thoughts.
Oh.
And if there's anybody that could do it, it would be you, Nick.
That's true.
I wonder if that's fun being an investigator for something like this.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm cheering for insurance companies by any means.
Right.
But just, busting scumbags like that.
That it would be,
This is the reason everything costs so much, right? People like her.
Especially if you know this is a non-violent person. This is, you know what I'm talking about? Sure, that would be fun to investigate something like that. No real risk of
and
anyone.
Tricking them like that.
Yeah.
The original toolmaker Jesus, Portillo's. Thank you, Portillo's, not Porcello's.
I thought maybe I was saying it wrong my whole life.
No, yeah, go ahead, correct me on that. I've never been to one. I
What's
knew
the
there was...
friggin' difference?
I thought it was Porcello's, too.
It
You
is
work there.
The hot dog place. It's, whatever. But this story, this lady is obviously shady as balls. But I do wonder, why was she so loose about it, talking to folks around town like she was? If you're going to pull a scam of that magnitude, you got to commit to the bit 24/7. She friggin' blew it.
I suppose it's been, 16 years. She just got cocky and lazy.
Right. She must have...
She probably thought, if they didn't catch me by now, they're never going to catch me.
You're probably right. She must have been so easily getting away with this gimmick for long enough to where she thought she had it dicked. She let her guard down. And now
you know how
it's all over.
I could pull this scam if I was only evaluated while making love. Completely mute. Not going to make a sound.
Strange.
How startled do you think your wife would be the next time the two of you make love? How startled would she be if you just busted? Oh, God, yes. Oh, you got to be kidding me. That's some good sex. Whatever. If you got vocal, she would probably...
She would assume she was with one of her boyfriends.
Oh!
She would never guess it was me.
Why can't you make a sound? Why can't you just make one sound?
Well, I have the ability. I just don't want to hear myself in that. I would kill it.
Make an orgasm sound.
Right now?
No. Next time.
Oh.
Next time you and the wife or whoever you dangle with these days, just make an orgasm sound for me.
Like a sound?
Whatever feels natural to you.
We'll go to Fleet Farm, Josh, and get you a pair of those big headphones that you see construction workers wear. So
I have some of those.
You won't be able to hear yourself. You can just do what feels right.
Yeah, I've got some of those. I could just put those on.
Just make for me. It would mean a lot to me if the next time you orgasmed with a partner, you made some sound.
Well,
this one's for Nick, is all you got to say.
Maybe I will. I can take inspiration from a couple of commercials we run where I think the person that is verbalizing the information is having an orgasm at the end of sentence.
Oh, they are.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe say this one's for Nick, or maybe it doesn't have to be anything fancy schmancy like the long orgasm audio. We don't need to get into that again. Just say something like, there it is.
Boom goes the dynamite.
That's the stuff.
Well, what if all of a sudden, let's say I throw out, this one's for Nick, and what if that's the only way it works from now on?
I'd be okay with that.
You would?
Yeah, sure.
You're a good man.
Here we go again with one of these characters. As we continue on, by damn. A 52-year-old gal living in the worst state possible. She got herself arrested for buying and selling human bones online. But it's not as if she was dismembering her victims in her basement, as far as I know. It's just another one of those skeleton enthusiast dorks. You know what I mean?
I've kind of got a thing for that. Like Halloween, I love skeletons. I want one of those big, like not skeletons, like an animal head, or like dinosaur skeletons. For some reason, I think that's really cool.
You've got
they are.
a thing for skeletons.
Yeah, just in the last 5-6 years.
This gal's name is Kimberly, spelled Kymberlee.
Oh.
Kymberlee.
Oh my gosh, it got worse.
It's bad. Yeah, that's bad. She's been charged with the crime of trading human tissue. Cubby used to trade human tissue back and forth. He'd start out drinking at Bennigan's, and by the end of the night, he'd be trading human tissue with some college-age gal.
It's not my fault. 3-for-1s. It's not your responsibility if they're going to do that.
3-for-1.
It's a bartender's fault.
Bottom line is, dorks, including this Kimberly lady, were selling human bones on Facebook Marketplace. 2 human skulls were going for $90 in trade. Let me see if I can get any takers here. A human clavicle and scapula were all yours for only $90. Josh,
what?
You want to know the answer to this one. How much for one rib?
How much for one rib?
I can tell you.
Help you, sir.
How much for an order of ribs?
$2.50.
Let me get one.
One order.
No. One rib.
One rib.
I sure am hungry.
You're starving.
One of the greatest scenes ever.
I'm going to get you, sucker.
That's the dude who did the voice of Chef there, Isaac Hayes, is behind the counter at the rib joint, and Chris Rock he sure is hungry.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that Chris Rock's first movie?
I believe so. He just wants the one rib.
Yeah, he was short on cash, and he wanted a cheaper soda, and the guy says, well, the cup cost me 15 cents.
Right.
And he said, well, then F the cup, pour it in my hand for a dime.
Yeah. Okay, one order of ribs. No. Just one rib. A human rib was going for $35, Josh. With these
really cheap.
I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want just the rib.
The bone nerds. Let's call these people bone nerds.
I like it.
They were selling human vertebrae for $35 and on from there. I think this Kimberly gal, she said she didn't know it was illegal to sell human remains. And the deal is, I believe, these bone nerds, they like to build their own skeletons at home or something, and then they get naked and wrap themselves in their pet python and listen to old Alice Cooper records. This is kind of interesting, though. This part is kind of interesting to me. experts say that some of the craniums that the bone nerds had laying around the house were likely more than 100 years old, and others were more than 500 years old. So, maybe those old noggins belonged to some poor bastard from the 1500s who died at 35 years old, which was about the max lifespan for a pimp back in those days.
I guess I wouldn't assume that was illegal. If you have a 500-year-old skull, I could see maybe if you are a business owner who does something like that, you should be aware of the rules. But
I guess they're human remains, and
I might feel
maybe
weird.
It's looked at as disrespectful to trade them or sell them.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I have a friend that uses animal bones to do her art. And I always thought that was a little odd because she will
Well, that is a little odd.
Well, honestly, it's
Is it part of her culture?
No, she's just an artist.
She's a bone nerd.
I do think some of the stuff she makes is really cool, but I think some of the bones that she acquires, she finds roadkill and then cleans it. And I wouldn't be able to do that part, but it does work out really cool.
We get a lot of murdered animals in our yard between owls and coyotes, so I could bring her some art materials if she's interested.
I'm sure she would love that.
Some of those skulls were 100 to 500 years old. Ooh, maybe the skulls belong to notorious gunfighters from the Old West or something, Josh.
Oh, cool.
Like Chavez E. Chavez or Josiah Gordon Doc Skurlock, Charlie Bowdry.
I wouldn't want to know whose skull it was.
You don't want to know the skull?
That would freak me out a little bit.
All right, we're almost out of time.
Can I give you a couple of suggestions from the listeners on what my orgasm sound should be?
Yeah, go ahead.
I used to deliver lube by the truckload. Jesus says, "Lucky you, here comes the baby goo."
No.
What about this one?
Awful.
Vetoed.
Whoopsies, do, here comes the goo. Oh, I bet they meant whoopsie do, here comes the goo.
God dang. No, I don't like either of these.
What about great googly moogly?
No.
Smashing Rogering darling?
It doesn't have to be anything all slick like that. It can just be something like, I hear you.
Yeah. Ouch.
Right.
Yuck. That kind of thing.
Which is
Tear me up. Sure, that's a classic around here.
Trying to come up with a quick one here for you before we go. KFC just created a fried chicken flavored toothpaste.
Yuck. I love KFC, but I don't think I could do that one.
They're always doing cute little things like this.
True that.
Have they lost some steam? Is that why they need the tricks, the gimmicks?
Well, they have to compete with Popeyes now. So.
Oh, that's kind of a rivalry.
It is.
Okay.
Amongst a couple of my friends.
Okay.
I didn't realize there was... I like to live in a world that both exist.
Sure. I don't like the sound of, I don't like the idea that KFC is struggling. But usually when you're doing all these gimmicks, that means you're struggling because I love their food. But now they've come up with a chicken-flavored toothpaste. And then, of course, whenever one of these oddball products gets introduced to the general public, they always claim that it's already completely sold out.
Because we made 5 of them.
Yeah, that's how they suck some of us in. It's already sold out. That must mean it's incredible, and I have to have it. So the toothpaste flavor is inspired by all the KFC's 11 herbs and spices, according to some silly news release.
Oh, that would just be not enjoyable first thing in the morning.
$13 is what they're selling it for on a website called His Smile. But again, they say it's all sold out. They're also selling an electric toothbrush. They want $60 for that.
Oh, that's a pretty good deal for an electric toothbrush.
Oh, it is. I've never paid that much for an electric toothbrush.
Electric toothbrush? Never saw it.
Oh, and once you use one, you never go back.
That's what everyone says. I just feel like I'd immediately want to put it down the front of my pants.
It takes a little bit. Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit to get used to and avoid that temptation to put it down the front of your pants.
It was really hard for me to get used to, it used to tickle in my mouth for the first 2 weeks or so.
I was going to ask, does it tickle? I'll just giggle the entire...
Have you ever had the stem, for the lack of a better word, to hit your teeth?
Yeah, I hate that.
Oh, that's like getting tased.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
3-1 ball game now. A little buzz
in the ballpark, and it's not the fans. And they've halted play, trying to figure out if that buzz will subside. But there's a whistling effect in the sound system.
There we go.
And whatever they had to do, they did it.
Crowd loved it.
I don't know.
Someone left a mic live, didn't they, Josh?
Something like that, yeah.
Was that in Boston?
No, it was in Florida at the whatever the temporary stadium.
Yeah.
What's the name? Steinbrenner Stadium, whatever they call it.
Wherever the Rays are playing.
Yeah, their temporary stadium.
Someone left the PA mic.
And by the way, Ashley, you were cringing there, and it was very, very cringy. I turned that squeak down a lot. A lot. The original, I'm kind of tempted to play the original, but the original is so loud.
It almost makes me nauseated. I hate that
I think we could
noise.
handle it. We could handle it, but sure, I get it. Oh, that happens. All right, let's get this and that out of the way. I won't keep you long. The Pigs beat Anaheim last night, so they're officially, Peterborough lost, so they're officially in the playoffs. They beat the Duck. They're officially in the playoff, but there's much more to say about last night's game than just that. The Twins are halfway to the 500 mark now.
Rocco!
With a win last night over the New York Mets. But, of course, there's some bad news in there, too. The damn NBA play-in tournament kicked in last night. We'll tell you all about that in a half hour. Got a text message here before we go. Ashley was saying she has a friend who is an artist. Don't you know? And she uses she uses animal bones in her art, doesn't she? You said that, didn't you, Ashley?
Yes, sir.
That was you, right?
You're Ashley, right?
Ass skinning, chainsaw packing Jesus texted in. He said he dated a girl who made bone art. And on their second date, she said, "You want a bone?" And he said yes. And she handed him a rodent vertebrae.
Blue balls, man.
Pretty cool, though.
That's how you get blue balls.
We'll be right back with Cubby's News Report.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Nice.
93X.
Nice.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
It's part sports.
We have football on the brain.
Part pop culture.
Dennis Leary. True or false? You refuse to wear a glove with Mickey Mantle's signature on it for the movie The Sandlot.
The Red Sox blood, the Brewers blood, they run deep.
Add in the best celebrity interviews.
Robert De Niro here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, sir?
Just got over a 24-hour virus.
The antidote is to appear on The Rich Eisen Show.
There you go. I would have done it earlier.
And you've got The Rich Eisen Show podcast.
There is a medicinal quality to appearing on this program.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
No way you accidentally give a kid drugs. There's no way it accidentally happened. Even if you didn't know or you was unaware, it's still something that shouldn't have happened.
A 38-year-old teacher in New York is currently on a very unexpected vacation. She's on some paid administrative leave after mistakenly handing out THC-laced gummies to two students, mistaking them for regular candy. According to the district, the teacher unintentionally handed out the edibles during a swim class, believing they were just Sour Patch Kids, but they weren't. The gummies looked almost identical to the real thing, except for a teeny tiny label warning they were loaded with 500 milligrams of THC. That's a lot, right?
That'll get you going.
Wow.
Isn't that a ton?
That's a ton.
I wouldn't know.
Whoa. It's probably for the whole package, but still, I mean, those aren't going to be like 5 milligram gummies still. They're probably at least 10, 15.
Mm-hmm. But it sounds like people aren't believing this was an accident?
Well, there's a couple parents that don't. Most people, including the school at this point, do believe it was a complete accident. Mm-hmm. A lot of schools won't let you have anything outside of like hot lunch or something you bring, right? There's not snacks in classes at some schools anymore for allergies or these types of mistakes.
And if you see the packagings on some of these THC gummies, they look just like they're marketing them as candy, basically. They look like just like, oh, it's a pack of sour Skittles or something like that.
Yeah, buddy of mine showed a pack, and I wouldn't have known.
No.
Never would have known. One of the students began feeling sick not long after eating the gummies. Both kids were taken to the hospital as a precaution, and Buffalo police were brought in to investigate.
He was sick. He was throwing up. His heartbeats per minute was over 130. We were very concerned. We got to the ER as soon as we could.
When questioned by officers, the teacher claimed they had no idea the gummies were laced and said it was an honest mistake.
Where did it come from? That was our main thing. How did he get a hold of these edibles?
Does it concern you that that bag of gummies made it onto school grounds?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The district responded by placing the teacher on leave and said in a statement it's treating the matter extremely seriously.
During swim class, too. Oh, my God.
Just tripping balls in the pool.
Hopefully they were having fun for a little bit.
You end up looking like Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys down there at the bottom of the pool, for Christ's sake.
A Minnesota correctional officer might be trading in her uniform for an orange jumpsuit. The 35-year-old was busted trying to sneak cocaine and a cell phone into the very prison she was tasked with securing, the Minnesota Correctional Facility in Rush City. The plot unraveled after investigators, listening to inmate phone calls, caught wind of plans to smuggle items inside. When questioned, the officer confessed to bringing in a phone and several small bags of a mysterious white powder, but claimed she had no idea what the powder was. Could have been anything. A backpack search later revealed 4 baggies stuffed in a rubber glove, and lab tests confirmed what everybody was already thinking, powdered semen. Cocaine.
Oh,
I don't know how your mind works. Cocaine. If convicted, she's looking at the next 10 years as caged heat. Her first court appearance is on the 23rd.
I've never had any interest at all in cocaine or heroin. But I bet that would change if you put me in prison.
Might as well.
Definitely. I've had those thoughts. Might as well at that point. Just go for it.
Yeah, I've never done even half a drug. But yeah, if I was in prison, I probably would change that.
And it's not a might as well type approach. It's anything to get me through this.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand.
I would make jenkem and toilet wine on the first day. I would want to be high the entire time or drunk.
I haven't heard about that in a while. Jenkem. Now, you might have to explain that to some folks who didn't watch all those prison specials on HBO from a few years ago.
Fermented feces.
Yeah.
To get high.
Well, how do you do it?
I don't know. You just leave it there for a while. I'm not sure how they actually do it.
Oh, I thought, yeah. You poop in a bucket, put some pee in there, too. You got to let it set for a while. And then you huff it? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you huff it.
Huff it, yeah.
We made some toilet wine once. It was prison wine. We made it in a big plastic bag in the studio, and it stinks, and it does not taste good.
Not in this building, to be specific.
No, not in this building. Last building I worked at, we were talking about prison wine, and the guy hit us up and goes, yeah, I did 10 years in the federal can. I can show you guys how. So he told us all the ingredients to get, and we made some prison wine in the studio. The rest of the people that had to use that studio once we were done were not happy with us for about a week and a half there.
I can imagine.
Because you got to let it sit for a while. It's got to cook.
In a comedy of errors out of India, a police officer managed to mix up the accused with the judge and ended up raiding the wrong house. The officer's mission was simple: serve a legal notice to the accused. But instead of delivering a legal notice to the actual suspect, the officer mistakenly listed the judge, the same judge who had issued the notice, as the accused. To make matters worse, he then reported to the court that the judge was missing. The error came to light when the judge personally reviewed the case file and discovered the blunder. To say he was unimpressed would be putting it mildly. He gave the officer a stern reality check, pointing out that the man seemed to have no clue what the notice said, who wrote it, or who it was actually for. Even more concerning, the judge warned that such reckless boners could be putting innocent people's rights and freedoms at risk, labeling the goof-up as a gross dereliction of duty. The judge ordered a formal investigation and urged senior officials to bring down the hammer of justice, but this time on the right person. Can you imagine?
Is there some undiagnosed dyslexia here at play?
Looked at the wrong part of the form.
So they end up kicking the judge's door down?
Yeah.
They did.
Well, raided. I don't know how any damage, but they raided the judge's house.
And he's not happy.
No, not at all. Very furious. While one arm of India's government fumbled through a real-world courtroom farce, Another was busy channeling the Force into sci-fi battlefield reality. India has developed a Star Wars-like laser gun, which brings the technology from the galaxy far, far away much, much closer to home. The cutting-edge system was put through its paces on Sunday, shooting down a swarm of drones with precision that would make a Jedi smile. Faster than the Millennium Falcon can make the Kessel Run, India's Defense Research and Development Organization, which led the trial, said the weapon picked up and tracked 7 swarms of drones at a range of about 2 miles, locked on and destroyed them all.
Shot them with a laser.
Yeah,
That's
laser.
fun.
I didn't picture India being the first folks to come up with this kind of a thing.
I wouldn't have thought so either, but they hate drones. It then knocked out a fixed-wing drone at an even greater range. It's just the beginning of the journey. We're working on a number of technologies, and what you saw today was one component of Star Wars technologies, a spokesperson for the Defense Research and Development said. Officials plan to further develop the weapon so it can fire multiple beams, allowing it to destroy swarms of drones simultaneously.
I had my money on the Swiss.
Oh, that's a sleeper pick.
Yeah.
I would have went India before the Swiss.
They got lasers cooking over there, and they're shooting things out of the sky.
Yeah, that's awesome. What started as jealousy over a vacation ended in a serious federal crime for a 19-year-old Michigan man. Joshua Lowe was sentenced to 8 months in prison after admitting he made a fake bomb threat to a cruise ship because he was upset his girlfriend went on the trip without him.
Get over it, you friggin' peckerhead.
And he was sick of watching her pets. When she and her family sipped pina coladas aboard Carnival Sunrise en route to Jamaica, he was stuck at home with the pets, a growing sense of betrayal, and apparently access to email.
This is his current girlfriend?
Yes.
Oh, I thought maybe he was angry with an ex.
No, this is his current one.
So she goes off on a trip, doesn't invite Dinkus, and he's at home with her dog and cat.
He's mad, yeah. Fueled by jealousy and too much free time, he casually fired off a message to Carnival Cruise Lines claiming there was a bomb on board.
Hey, I think someone might have a bomb on your Sunrise cruise ship.
And then he laughed weirdly at the single sentence set off a massive security response. The ship, which had just departed Miami en route to Jamaica, was forced to turn around. More than 1,000 rooms searched as authorities looked for the threat. The FBI quickly traced the email back to Lowe, who was living with his girlfriend's family at the time, awkward, and he admitted the whole thing. He confessed, explaining he lashed out because he was butthurt about being left out. While he could have landed in prison for 5 years, he will ultimately serve a maximum of 8 months behind bars after being sentenced on Monday. He's also got to recoup some of those costs. It's going to be very expensive.
Well, that gal knows how to pick them.
She sure does.
Bet it was worth it.
What do you mean?
I'm just kidding.
I'm trying to think.
What a dumbass.
Yeah, what part was worth it, in your opinion? Let's see, we got to skip ahead here. A 46-year-old inmate made a break for it from the Chisago County Jail early Thursday, only to end up in a trash can.
Man, that's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
According to documents, the inmate was on supervised trash duty about 1:26 a.m. when a correctional officer escorted him to the loading dock to take out the trash. But instead of sticking to his chore chart, the inmate decided it was the perfect time for a jailbreak. As he wheeled the bins to the dumpster, he ditched the rubbish and ran. Fast forward less than 2 hours and 4 miles later, an officer popped the lid on a trash can and, surprise, there he was, crouched inside like a raccoon with a rap sheet. He was trying his best to blend in with apple cores and pizza boxes, but the cops were pretty smart. After being detrashed and detained, the inmate was taken back to jail.
That sucks. His only freedom was for a few fleeting moments in a trash can.
Yeah, that was the best it got for the guy.
As good as it got for homeboy over there.
Unfortunately for him.
Yeah.
Anya Hubba Taylor Hubba-Joy, 29 today.
What's going on with her lately?
She was just in The Gorge on Apple TV+.
Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah, me
not
too.
Bad. Miles Teller, love him.
He's great.
I know who she is. The last time I saw her was that weird-ass movie where she floated up into the sky and she was a witch, and it was odd, and you couldn't understand what anybody was saying, and everyone loved it.
I didn't see that one.
No,
What was that one called? What was that one called? Help me
I
out.
don't remember.
I'm not familiar.
Couldn't understand a word anyone said the entire movie, and then she was a witch, and she floated up to the sky, and she was completely naked.
Most people would know her from The Queen's Gambit.
Is it called The Witch?
That's it. What's so funny about that?
Is it in
very
percent?
spot on?
Parentheses, and then she floated up the sky and nobody could understand what she's saying?
You didn't see that one?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Watch it tonight and tell me if you can make out one word. Just one.
I have trouble. Is it English accents?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to turn on the subtitles.
Oh, yeah.
She goes floating up to the sky, and then it was over.
And I say the same thing to my wife every time. Are they speaking English? And it's English. I
She's
can't
completely
understand.
naked.
Oh, I actually did see a couple, but I turned this off. Maybe that was why I was sick of the accents.
Couldn't make out a word.
Martin Lawrence turned 60 today.
He's coming to town, I heard.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Are you going to go to the show?
If it's a weekend.
Well, yeah, it's a weekend. Are you really?
Yeah, I'll go. You want to go together?
Well, you said you can't wait. That led me to believe that you were already in line to go to the show.
No, I just can't wait to find out if it's a weekend so I can go.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's Martin Lawrence. We can't have him in town on a weeknight.
Then we'll have to take that next day off if that's the case.
Friday and Saturday.
Two shows.
I'm only going to one. Soul Asylum lead singer David Perner, 61 today. Thank you for Dave, if you're listening, thank you for the song Misery. You guys nailed it with that one.
Yeah, we like that one.
Bill Belichick, 73. Hot girlfriend, 24.
Oh, my.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is 78 today. Happy birthday to Tears Are My Lubricant. Jesus, yuck. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
It's not like you can hide him. It's not like you're going to put him in your front yard.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Around the board, Zuccarello intercepts, centers, Erickson scores! Johansson in for Minnesota, back to Moldy, he scores!
It's fun. It's fun just to go one more time out there, and play the game I love, I'm happy I got to go play just a little bit more at home. That was cool.
What was I watching The Witch there? I couldn't make out a word. Couldn't make out a word. Oh, we're going to get there with the pigs. We will. But you got to keep it in your pants for now. Hi, Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We got a wild update coming up at 8 a.m. There's plenty to cover. But for now, keep it zipped up for Pete's sake. I can go ahead and tell you whenever I feel like it that the Twins are halfway to the 500 mark now with a win last night over the New York Mets by a 6-3 final. But, of course, there's some bad news.
Yes.
And we'll get to the bad news. Let's talk about the good stuff. We don't get many opportunities like this with the Twins. Ryan Jeffers and Harrison Bader had 3 hits apiece. Brooks Lee got the dong out for the home crowd, even with that chilly weather. Byron Buxton had a couple of singles and scored a couple of runs. 6-3. Like I said, Twins beat the Mets. But can they win the friggin' series?
Have they won? I don't think they've won a series yet this year, have they?
No.
No.
Okay.
No. Depressing. Play a day game today, too, so.
Day game. Bailey Ober did all right last night.
Yes, he did. Bailey Ober looked good last night.
Duran, whatever the hell his name is, he got his first save of the season. They scored a couple of unearned runs. It always helps when the other club screws the pooch a little bit. Pete Alonso and Juan Soto each homered, but F them. F them. They had a season-high 13 hits on the night. So up next, can they win the series? David Festa will start for the Twins. Last I looked, the Mets weren't exactly sure who they were going to put on the bump for starters today because their scheduled guy, someone by the name of Griffin Canning, is out due to illness.
I think they're going to do a bullpen game today.
All right.
Be my guess.
I'll have to go along with it. I'm going to have
now
to go.
The bad news.
Yeah, the bad news is both Carlos Correa and Matt Wallner left the ball game last night with possible injuries. Wallner did something to his hamstring. Correa, they're calling it a trick wrist. So even though they got the win last night, it's the Twins, so there's going to have to be some kind of bad news, some kind of injury news involved, and that's where they sit.
Well, Correa's going to have an MRI done, so to determine the extent of the injury to the wrist. He says it's not that big a deal, but we'll see. Wallner is, again, running the ball out to first base. Right?
Yeah.
A hamstring injury, which is too bad because he's been really their best hitter of late. And we'll have to see how long he may be out. But, I mean, that's two very important pieces in their everyday lineup if those two guys have to sit for a while.
Didn't they win 2 out of 3 in Chicago, listeners are asking us? Yes, they did.
Okay. Yep. There you go.
So this would be, if they can win today, their second series win of the season.
We're talking about against a major league team.
Better not poke too much fun at them. We're a whole 1 game ahead of them.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
You're right.
Yeah, that sucks. Matt Wallner, Carlos Correa, you're right. Very valuable pieces of the puzzle. So hopefully there's some good news today. Or have you already heard bad news, Randy?
I have not heard bad news, but and I'm just going by what Correa said after the game. But the other thing is he's been off to a really slow start at the plate, and I think there's some speculation, or people are wondering whether the wrist is one of the reasons why he's off to a slow start. So hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully they'll look at the MRI today and say, hey, you just gotta sit for a few days, and it's going to be one of those things that you're going to have to deal with all year long. And he's done that with his feet and the plantar fasciitis and things like that. So hopefully it won't be something that keeps him out long term.
It's just it's just alarming that it's April 16th today, and Lewis is out with injury, and Lopez is out with injury, and Correa's out with injury, and Wallner's out. You know what I mean? We've got a long way to go yet.
No, you're right. I think the weather with Wallner, and I mean, playing in this kind of cold weather doesn't help. Obviously, the Lewis injury happened in spring training, and he's just prone to those things. And Lopez, again, you're right, it's early. But, I mean, there's plenty of time for these guys to figure some things out.
I love this line of thinking. Trades worker Jesus texted in. The entire Twins training staff needs to be fired with all these injuries happening.
We tried that a couple of years ago, I think.
That's right, they did.
Someone else texted in and said, there's no way a pro athlete should ever hurt themselves just running to first base. But so neither one of these people, you don't believe in wear and tear at all? That's not a factor?
Yeah, I don't, those things happen.
I don't care if you're in shape or not. Things are going to give way on you time and again.
I rolled my ankle walking the dog yesterday. And I'm a beacon of athleticism.
You're not going to be able to walk your dog for, 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah, I'm on the shelf, 4 to 6.
I mean, they're not superhuman, for Christ's sake. I mean, but they have talents that not all of us possess, but just because they're athletes doesn't mean they're perfect machines.
You could have this discussion. Kirby Puckett was never on the disabled list until his eye injury that cost him his career. Was never on the DL.
Turkey bucket.
And he never trained in the offseason.
Had McDonald's before every game.
He never picked up a bat. He never did anything. And there's an argument out there. There's a discussion about athletes who, in baseball, I think is a reasonable sport to talk about overtraining. And I'm not saying these injuries are overtraining injuries. I'm just saying, in general, we see some of these injuries, and it feels like there's more of them than what we used to see back in the day. And maybe it is somewhat of doing too much in the off season or whatever, and it's, as Nick said, wear and tear. Well, wear and tear happens when you do the same things over and over again, the same drills or the whatever.
Here's another listener who says these guys obviously don't take great care of themselves.
That's not true. Absolutely
not athletes
true.
Athletes today take better care of themselves than any time in the history of professional sports.
That is correct.
Did you watch sports in the 70s and 80s? Those guys did not take care of themselves.
They're smoking in the cigarettes, yeah.
There's something to be said for what Randy's saying, though. I think there's almost a tipsy of overtraining now compared to before.
If anything, they overdo it.
We need to dial it back. I mean, you were close to Bud Grant, Randy, and he always used to say, I mean, the most important aspect of an athlete to him was their durability. Can they play? Can they stay on the field? If they could, he was their guy. But if not, he was going to get rid of you.
If anything,
none of those guys trained during the off season.
No,
they all had jobs.
Yeah,
they all had to go to work in the off season.
Right. So I will go this way. If anything, I will argue that they overtrain.
Yeah, I would agree.
You're absolutely right.
Jesus. I mean, take a look at your average baseball player today compared to 1981. They look like some dude your dad drinks with at the Legion put on a baseball uniform, for Christ's sake, back in those days. We neglected to mention the sold-out crowd last night at Target Field.
Oh, man. Oh, that was rough.
It's getting bad.
What, were they playing at Siebert Field or what?
They could have moved it there.
Yeah.
Monday night's game, I guess, was the lowest attendance in the history of the ballpark.
Lowest since 2002 when Gardy started his 3-year run of division titles.
We're going all the way back to the old Metrodome.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, there was some elbow room at the old Metrodome.
What section do you want? Take your pick.
Yep.
Plenty of sections available.
Oh, there was some elbow room during some of those late 90s teams.
$5 ticket, you find yourself sitting behind the dugout.
Yeah, I also think the weather has a lot to do with that, though.
Oh, yeah. So. Yeah. Wait till it warms up. They'll do all right.
Yeah.
And we got people texting in saying, Ric Flair wrestled 300 nights a year, drank all night, and was constantly, Josh, giving women like your mother a ride on Space Mountain. And he never missed a match. They got to toughen up a little, be more like the Nate. Those wrestlers were different. Ooh-wee.
But, the lifespan, they all die by 40.
That's true.
The negative side there.
Friggin' Flair's a wild exception to that rule. My God. All right. I was surprised to read yesterday that a lot of baseball fans didn't know about the golden ticket routine.
I thought that was kind of well known.
I thought so as well.
I didn't know about it until a couple years ago. I mean,
was Dick Bramer the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I learned about it.
But I thought when Dick Bramer told us about the golden ticket routine, I thought we must be the last swinging D's on planet Earth to have not heard about it. But apparently still, and if you don't know what we're talking about, a golden ticket, so to speak, is given to former big league players that allows them to attend any game for free until the day that they die. As long as I think they put in 8 years.
Yep, they have to reach a certain amount of service time.
Managers, base coaches, players, even those trainers who all need to be fired. If they've put in 8 years, for the rest of your life, you can get into any baseball game for free.
That's really cool.
So, yes, Randy?
Oh, no, it was me. I was going to say, we'll have to ask Glenn Perkins about that next week because I know he has one. I wonder if he's ever used it. Probably not because he's at the games working, but maybe he wants to give it to me.
I wonder if you can pass it on to a loved one.
I bet you can't.
So much of the baseball world, it says in this article, was shocked to learn of this earlier in the week. Former Pittsburgh Pirates, he pitched for quite a few different teams, I think. But anyway, a former big league pitcher by the name of Jason Greeley got on social media to mention that he took his son to watch the Pirates the other day. And he mentioned he was using his, quote, lifetime pass golden ticket to get he and his kid into the game.
If you Google it, it looks really cool, too.
Oh, it actually has
it looks like a credit card, and it's gold, and it says MLB Lifetime Pass, and has the name plus guest engraved.
Oh, right. I think Dick...
Cool.
I think Dick mentioned that.
You can take a guest, too, yeah.
Pardon me?
You can take a guest, too.
A guest, yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said you can take a guess, and my answer was going to be... I wasn't sure what my guess was going to be. Anyway. By the way, listen to the way this Jason Greeley guy talks on Twitter. This guy is deep. And also, I suspect that he thinks very highly of himself. He tweeted, "Used the lifetime pass and the golden ticket today to watch Paul Skeens take the mound with my son. Moments like this hit different. Baseball. Legacy. Passing it on to the next generation."
Well, he's taking his son to the ball game.
Yes, exactly, Randy.
Yeah.
He's taking his son to the ball game.
Well, he's passing on his love of the game to his son.
Yes.
by taking him to the ball game.
But he didn't need to use words like...
Well, that's okay. He flowered it up a little bit. It's all right.
Right. You and your kid went to the ball game. You're not the main character in a movie.
I have one of those lifetime passes.
Where do you get to go?
I can go to any high school event in Minnesota.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
That is cool. Any free hot dog add-ons or anything like that?
No free add-ons.
I've been to a high school ball game or two in my life, and let me tell you, those kind of moments hit different.
when you're passing on to the next generation, you take your nephew.
Yeah,
I haven't seen you at any of our high school softball games, Randy.
I would love to go. I would love to go to your softball games, Brad. Send me a schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, we should go raise hell at one of his games.
Oh yeah, just sit along the third baseline and just drink and yell.
Brad!
I'd love that.
You should come to. I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but you should come to our cancer game this year.
I would love to.
Okay.
Tell me what. Give me the date.
Sounds dangerous.
It does. Yeah, I'd avoid that one.
Sounds dangerous. Josh, do you have any comments on legacy?
Oh my God.
Oh man, that's an inside joke, but a good one.
Legacy. By the way, the golden ticket was first given. A little trivia question here for you. Or does anyone know the answer already?
I don't.
I kind of Googled a couple things while we were talking here, but I didn't find that.
The Major League Baseball lifetime pass was first given to President Theodore Roosevelt. I don't know why. He must have been a big baseball fan.
Yeah, big Devil Rays fan he was back in the day.
If that's the case, then that ticket's been around a long time.
But like I mentioned, a lot of folks were surprised by when learning this, and they got on social media and said things like this. I was today years old. They're still doing that bit.
Oh, I thought that was over.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I saw somebody use this wasn't on my 2025 bingo card yesterday. That one, I thought that went away too.
That one's stale.
Josh, they're still playing the I was today years old game with you. And it's got to be aggravating to you at this point.
I liked it the first time.
The other one I can't stand right now is when somebody says something like, the 2025 Twins are the best team in baseball. Said no one ever.
Yeah, I hate that. That's over.
They're just stealing not from back in the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, you look good today. Not.
Borat struggled with that.
He did.
He sure did.
All right, how about names? Was it yesterday we had a funny name in our stupid news? Oh, yeah, yesterday in the stupid news we had a character whose real name was Edward Cocaine. Okay? That was yesterday. Today I got some more name fun for you. There's a new relief pitcher for the Athletics by the name of Jason Alexander, and Seinfeld fans are touching themselves.
Right-hander George Costanza had the pitch for the A's. It's really Jason Alexander.
Never saw it. That's great that the announcer originally called him George Costanza. That's cute.
Wonder how sick of that he gets. He's gotten his whole life.
Oh, he might like it.
He's going to kill somebody. There are officially 2 players on Major League Baseball rosters with the name Max Muncy.
Yes, there are.
You'd think that would be more
Dodgers
original.
And Athletics.
You would think there'd be more.
No, that would be more original with the last name.
Oh. Yeah, you'd think once you get a Max Muncy, that's going to be your only Max Muncy.
Yeah. And they're actually spelled exactly the same, too.
Yes, they are. And Randy Shaver's right. The Muncy that most people are familiar with has played third base for the Los Angeles Dodgers over the past 8 seasons. He began his career with the Oakland Athletics, which is why it's so weird that the A's drafted another player named Max Muncy in the year 20 and 21. Having 2 players named Max Muncy drafted by the same team, especially when they are not related, is bizarre enough. What seems almost impossible in a year that has featured the improbable.
Yes, Vin.
The impossible has happened, Max. Vin Scully said when Kirk Gibson hit his home run off of Dennis Eckersley, but now we got to go back because I've confused people. Having 2 players named Max Muncy drafted by the same team, especially when they're not related, is weird enough. What's almost impossible is that both were born on August 25th.
Maybe they just did it for the bit. the second one. They're like, we have to sign him.
The Dodgers said, okay, we got to do this. The younger Muncy made the roster for the Athletics this season, and he has played sparingly. What does this say? For a brief period last weekend, both Max Muncies had the exact same batting average and OPS. This is something from the Twilight Zone right here. There's a man on the wing of this plane. Remember that one, everybody?
Yep.
Yeah. Just because of Ace Ventura.
Did you have to go back and look at Captain Kirk in that episode of the Twilight Zone?
Yeah, I had no idea it was a Twilight Zone reference until we brought it up on the show a couple of years ago. I just thought it was something goofy Ace was doing on the airplane.
I don't know the Ace Ventura reference.
He's on an airplane in the second one going down.
Didn't see it.
Yeah, and he's doing that. There's something on the wing.
Okay. Never saw it.
I just thought it was Ace being goofy. I had no idea it was a reference to something.
When I saw the Twilight Zone episode starring William Shatner where there's a man on the plane, scared me absolutely stiff.
Very creepy.
Those shows used to just terrify me. Now it's Black Mirror.
Black Mirror?
Yeah. So
I don't know that one.
It's kind of like the same vibe. And they just came out with a new season. And it's pretty good.
I can't get into it. I don't know why. It seems like something I'd love. Maybe I got to go back.
I will say, I think there's 7 seasons now, and some of them, they don't hit.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I just watched the wrong one.
Because each episode is like a standalone story, right, Ashley?
Yes.
You don't need to watch, episodes 1, 2, and 3 to understand what happens in 4.
And the cool part is I can't remember if the Twilight Zone did this because I was younger when I used to watch it, but they have famous actors that make cameos all the time.
I'll have to check that one out. Someone help me out with this. The Atlantic League, an independent baseball league. Yeah, there you go.
there's the leaf blower guy.
Good grief.
Oh, we got a buddy.
Yeah, is he double-barreled today? What's going on?
Yeah, triple.
That's a triple?
We have triple-barreled leaf blower going on right now.
Do you guys?
Yes.
Is your campus in a forest? Why are there so many leaves?
Your landscaping budget.
It actually is. I mean, we're kind of tucked in the woods back here, but boy.
Do you not like them anymore?
He's never liked them.
Well,
funniest part is how embarrassed Brad gets by this just very just common thing.
It's got to come to a point now where we don't even acknowledge it anymore. Now, wait a minute. Are you adding sound effects, Josh? Or
yes.
Okay.
Now they're gone.
There are 3 of them out there, though.
To me, it sounded for a minute like he was walking up the steps to get you. But Josh was adding.
They're all smiling, so I think that they may understand what's going on.
Oh, we've been talking about it for years. They have to know it.
Yeah.
Are they wearing headphones? Again, we hope that one of them is listening.
They're wearing the ear muff things so that they don't damage their ears because of the sound of the...
All right. Retired liquor store Jesus texted in to say, if you like the William Shatner version of the Twilight Zone episode where there's a man on the wing of the plane, they're asking, did I enjoy John Lithgow's version, which they used in Twilight Zone, the movie. I want to say that was 1982. Yes, I like that version even better. I do. Just for the record, retired liquor store Jesus. John Lithgow takes that role from William Shatner in the Twilight Zone, the movie. I like it even better. This Atlantic League is putting QR codes on their baseballs that they use in games this season.
Oh.
So what are we talking here? You catch a foul ball or a home run, you scan the QR code and get a free French fry from Burger King or something like that? Why are they doing? Josh, do you know why they would?
Is it to keep track of them for some reason?
Well, no, it says here.
I can't remember what it said.
Each club now has another opportunity to personally engage its fans. When a fan
smart
acquires a foul ball or home run, they scan the QR code with their mobile device to receive special recognition, but I don't know what they mean by that.
Yeah, so it'll say, I'm assuming they attach, the story of the ball, right? It was a foul ball, it was a home run or something like that, and might determine what you get off of that. That's my guess.
I mean,
it wasn't too specific.
That's cool and all, but that's kind of a bummer at the same time. I don't want a ball that I catch to be.
Well, that's true. I mean, if you want it autographed or something like that, I don't know what it does to the value.
Kind of makes it cheap looking, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's the route they're going to take. Sorry, I thought there'd be more of a story behind it, but
well, it's kind of cool. I mean, very today.
I was curious. It is very today.
Yeah, very today.
How old were you when you learned that?
Oh, my Dan, thank you for asking. I was today years old when I found out about QR codes being put on baseball.
Can you check my bingo card? Is that on there for 2025?
It is not on your 2025 bingo card.
Yeah, proof of a home run, the listeners are saying. Yeah, that's what I'd imagine, right? It would just kind of give you the backstory.
You need to prove to someone that you caught a home run ball in the Atlantic League?
Maybe if you're selling it or something.
Well, what are you going to sell it for? Here's a guy who's never going to make the bigs who hit a home run.
Well, maybe they do.
In, Penisville, South Carolina or something.
Have you been to Penisville this time of year?
I'm the mayor of Penisville. They voted me in Penisville.
It's a hard town to get into.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. It's a hard town.
Yeah.
Okay, hard town. I just can't imagine walking into my neighborhood bar and I'm tossing a baseball up and down in my hand. And I say to the guy at the bar, I say, hey, I caught this home run ball at the Atlantic League game over the weekend down in Penisville, South Carolina. I can't imagine that guy at the bar going, you got to prove that. Prove it.
Or being so impressed. You're drinking for free tonight, buddy.
You didn't catch a home run ball at the Atlantic game in Penisville. Prove it. The Pigs beat Anaheim last night, so they're officially in the playoff. And, boy, did they dodge a couple of bullets in the last few days.
Dramatic.
Yeah, why'd they have to make it so dramatic?
They damn near lost in Vancouver last weekend. We talked about that. They were 20 seconds away from a loss last night. Down 2-1. Eriksson Ek ties the game with 20 seconds left.
Well, they got a break because Anaheim failed to get the puck out of the zone. And that inability on that one play cost Anaheim the game, and it gave the Wild one last chance before the end of regulation, and they took great advantage of it. So,
and as far as I know,
dramatic.
It was. As far as I know, all the boys needed was for Calgary to lose last night to Las Vegas.
But they didn't.
Right. That's where I'm going with this, Brad Ryder. I do prepare for these conversations. And Vegas appeared to have that game in hand, but the Flames came back and won that game in a shootout.
It was 3-1 at the end of 2 last night, and Calgary scored. But this was all after the Wild had clinched. So the games weren't happening at the same time.
Right, but what if they hadn't clinched?
Oh, yeah, exactly. And
that's what we said yesterday. If the Wild were to lose last night, then they'd have to sit and wait until Thursday to figure out whether they're in or not.
So we've been talking for a few weeks about how Calgary was 1 or 2 games as far as like they played 1 or 2 games fewer. So don't be deceived by the fact that the Wild had this 5-point lead or 4-point lead over them because they've got all these games in hand. Well, yeah, if the Wild wouldn't have got that late goal last night, they would have had to have waited until after Calgary's game to see if they were in or not.
Yep, if Eriksson Ek doesn't tie the game last night, things would be iffy around here.
Mm-hmm.
Iffy. By the way, Josh, a listener has texted in to tell you, because he knows this is something that you're into, you should see the pubes in Penisville during the fall.
Oh, sure.
The color changes.
I love the fall pube color.
Beautiful color changes. St. Louis also won last night. So the Flames were eliminated. The Pigs get the number 7 seed in the playoff. They'll be up against the aforementioned Vegas club. The Blues get the 8 spot. They get the Winnipeg Jets. Matt Boldy got the game winner last night. 20 seconds left in overtime. And the Pigs sent retiring goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury out onto the ice for overtime. Everybody wet themselves.
I thought that was cool.
He got another nice moment to remember.
Well, he got the win.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't know. I don't remember the number.
575.
575. There you go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the ass end of that hockey game last night, down 2-1, they really looked pretty sloppy. And I thought, all right, we're going to have to wait till Thursday. And so quickly, they went the other way. I mean, the Anaheim Ducks have had a bad year. But did you see when Boldy scored that goal, did you see one of the Ducks players just stood up and broke his friggin' stick over the side of the bench?
I didn't see that.
They
What?
wanted so badly to ruin the Pigs' season.
Yeah.
Let's go out a winner, boys. We've had a terrible year. I can't say that I didn't feel a little bit bad for the Ducks because they were like, you know what? We haven't accomplished dick this year. Let's at least ruin the Wild season. They couldn't even get that done.
You love the bad guys.
When I was watching overtime and Fleury came out, I was like, wow, this is just so cool. And then all of a sudden my heart sank. I'm like, oh, no, they're going to drop the puck and score in like 9 seconds.
Well, they damn near did.
I know, yeah. He was getting peppered.
I mean, they set him out there because the game was already the playoff position had already been secured.
No, I know that, but it just would have been like a bad final moment on the ice for the guy.
It was a little risky from an emotional standpoint to do that. Yeah, sure. But I give them credit for doing it, though. That was awesome. Yeah,
they've done such a great job with saying farewell to him.
Oh, and I'm telling you, the first 2-3 pucks that Fleury saved in overtime, he never saw them. he never saw them.
The one where he was flopping and he kind of turned the opposite way. He didn't.
He was not ready for that, but it all played out. So they'll begin their series in Nevada either Saturday or Sunday.
I got a question for you, Nick.
Yes.
Penisville.
Yes.
You are the mayor, so you will know this answer.
When it comes to crime, listeners want to know.
Oh my God.
Their take on crime. Are they hard or soft on crime?
They are very, very soft on crime after they've been drinking.
What
hard on crime until they've had a few drinks, and then it eases down a little.
I'll challenge the listeners to come up to this for the city council members in this town. Names.
A lot of them are named Dick, Richard.
Somebody already said Richard Slinger.
Johnson. Wang.
Traveling around there, paved roads, dirt roads, which way does Penisville go?
When I was elected mayor of Penisville, Josh, a number of years ago.
Erected, yes.
I demanded a trip down the dirt road.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until they pave those. I'm not interested in the dirt road.
Oh, man.
I took the back roads, baby.
No. You can't do that.
Take me for a ride in a limousine.
Nothing like the Wild report going completely off the rails.
It's not over yet. We can make some more penis reference before this report is over.
Now, I don't know if the individual wants me to say their first name, but the last name is Hawk. That's somebody else that is on the city council of Penisville.
Hawk.
Hawk is the last name. The first name, I don't know if I can say or not.
Tua? Oh, no.
No. It's short for Michael is what the first name is.
Oh, my damn. All right. So the bracket for the NHL playoff is more or less in order, even though a few teams still have a game remaining. There's only, not that you'd care, but there's only one question still unanswered, and that is, who makes the Eastern Conference playoffs, the Montreal Canadiens or the Columbus Blue Jackets? My answer to that is who cares?
Well, I'm sure they care, but yes.
Yes, that would be an accurate statement, right?
Yeah, true.
In the West?
I mean, what does Columbus have going for them right now?
Nothing. They've never had anything going for them.
Yeah, this is their life right now.
In the West, you got the Jets and the Blues, Stars and Avalanche, of course, Vegas and the Pigs. If the Pigs can somehow pull what would be a massive upset, they would face the winner of the Los Angeles Kings and Edmonton Oilers. Tough bracket.
Yep. Well, it's all tough. All of those games are tough.
Yeah, by all accounts. In the East, if you, I'm interested in seeing what the Ottawa Senators can do against the Toronto.
They've run a ton, right? Lately. I mean, they've had a great finish to the season. I know that.
I mean, it's interesting because it's a Canadian series. Yep. It's always interesting when two Canadian clubs face each other. And the Leafs like to wet the bed. So that should be something. Tampa Bay, Florida. You know what I mean when I say that. I wasn't just announcing a city in Florida. Those are the two teams that will face each other. Okay, interstate kind of a thing. The Capitals will face either Columbus or Montreal. Carolina, New Jersey. So starts up this weekend. And there will be further updates. But there you go, Pigs
playoff
fans.
hockey, that's the best, right?
Yeah, you said they've got an uphill battle. They were 0-3 against them during the regular season. So,
and I don't think many of those games were terribly close. But then I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. We'll fall all over ourselves, I'm sure, in the coming days over the Pigs making the playoffs. Again, our Wild Update brought to you by Luther Kia of Bloomington.
Mr. Mayor, more questions about Penisville.
Yes.
And actually a complaint from a resident. He lives in Penisville, loves his mayor, but he said he never gets his mail because he lives on G-Spot Lane, and no one can ever find it. Wow. Nobody in Penisville can find it. Ashley, am I right? D&D Jesus wants to know about the bushes in Penisville. Trimmed, overgrown.
Do they vary?
Overgrown. They're all overgrown.
And is there an airport with a landing strip?
Perfectly tailored, if that's the word, tailored.
Now, the police officers beat cops?
As mayor, let me
Do they have leaf blowers?
Let me address the first question about never finding the G-spot. Okay?
Yeah.
As mayor of
G-spot lane.
Penisville. You're making the mistake of assuming that we're looking for it. We've got a motto here in Penisville, as long as I get mine.
Hey, I just realized they want to deliver the MALE to the G-spot. That's what they're looking for, G-spot lane.
I have to be honest with you, Josh.
Go ahead.
I'm having a hard time keeping up with all these innuendos. I'm getting kind of a headache trying to piece it all together.
Can you ever get in trouble in Penisville? Someone wants to know.
What kind of trouble?
This is Tig Welder, Jesus. Yeah, like, let's say you go to court. Is it always a hung jury?
I think we've hit the max.
I don't think so. I don't think
we've
it's
hit
possible.
the ceiling on this.
The funny thing is, about 10:18 this morning, somebody's going to think of a random one.
Oh, there's so many good.
Yeah.
Maybe we could come back to this one tomorrow. Somebody has a question about sewage. We can get back to that one. Unless it's Vaginaville tomorrow.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no. Is there a sewer right next to the playground? You have to be careful where you step.
Oh, my God.
Is there a sewer next to the playground in Penisville?
Don't wander too far from the playground.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones coming in. So many that we could never, ever read.
The damn NBA play-in tournament kicked in last night. Speaking of, giving you a headache, this stuff is tough to follow. I'm going to try to be as clear as possible here. So Orlando defeated Atlanta. So the Magic have claimed the number 7 seed and will play Boston in the opening round of the real playoffs.
Correct.
The Hawks will play the winner of tonight's Eastern Conference game between Miami and Chicago for the 8 seed. Now, Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks got kicked out of last night's game for throwing the basketball at a ref. I like the sound of that. I didn't see it, but I heard he threw a basketball at the ref. Kind of a thing.
You can see it on 93X.com, Nick.
Oh, I didn't see it over there.
And then he kind of psyched him out. He kind of pretended he's going to throw the ball to the ref, but he just bounced it on his own and turned around.
That was the best part. Like a little kid.
Yeah, just like a little kid.
Golden State defeated Memphis. So the Warriors are the 7 seed in the West. They'll play Houston. Memphis will play the winner of Dallas versus Sacramento tonight for the 8 seed. I think I got it all right, Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder.
Yes, you got it.
You did, yeah. That's another example of how if the Wolves were involved in this, we probably would have let off with it. But now that they're not, we don't care.
Well, I sort of care. I do.
Don't care.
I do. I just get confused by what all the victories and losses mean. But no, I like the
only thing.
I like the playing game, but I'm just saying I didn't watch a second of it.
Okay. Well, there was lots of other things on television, but I do like this setup. I do. And if the Pigs and the what's our local baseball team name again?
The Twins.
If they weren't on television last night, I would have watched that game between Atlanta and whoever the other team was. Oh God, you don't happen to have audio of this, Josh? This sounds so hilarious to me. So they played the Atlanta-Orlando game, played in Orlando, Florida. But a Hawks fan showed up and really put on a show. surrounded by Magic fans with good seats behind one of the baskets. One Atlanta Hawk fan walks down the aisle and to his or her seat, dressed in full Hawk mascot gear. And this was not the official mascot. But they had red feathers, a head, a beak, everything, right?
I didn't know you could get away with this. I didn't know you could put something like this on and go into a stadium.
And that's not it. That's not it. According to the story, whenever a member of the Magic was at the free throw line, this person would caw loudly and repeatedly. That's friggin' hilarious. I would love to see that.
Yeah, if you're a Magic fan, you just got to tip your hat and say respect.
Stayed in character all night long, sitting in their chair, full bird costume, and would caw their balls off whenever someone from the Magic is shooting free throws. Maybe this is the liquor talk.
Oh, no, I like that, too.
That's pretty good.
As loud as possible. I saw one picture of this fan. Good seats, like I said, right by one of the baskets. And in this still photograph that I looked at, there's a older female Magic fan sitting next to the bird, and she is giving that bird a very dirty look. That's fun. Nothing but fun, Randy Shaver.
That's what we're all about.
And Brad Ryder.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Unfortunately, this story has reached a point where I'm going to stop caring altogether because I'm so tired of hearing about it. But, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, they smoke a pile of dope and then they put on sunglasses and do a podcast, right?
And they all wear like 9 different bracelets on each wrist. I've noticed that too. They have a big watch and then 12 bracelets.
And they were talking again about the Kevin Garnett. So now word is Kevin Garnett is unsure about coming into town here and getting fully involved with the Wolves, despite the fact that A-Rod and Jennifer Lopez are going to be running things here shortly. He's still locked into personal projects, this and that.
He's busy.
The concerns that I have, or at least some of the things that I want to actually grow and develop in Minnesota, has nothing to do with the court. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The communities and bringing the city back together is kind of what I'm on. I want to go back to touch the guys and have everybody be excited about the Timberwolves and Twins and the Vikings and the Wild.
All right. He wants to be more of an ambassador for the entire state of Minnesota. And that's great. Sure, whatever you want to do, Kevin Garnett. People stop asking him about this because I'm getting burned out on the subject.
Yeah, just do it or don't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I think 2 things need to happen. 1, they need to raise his jersey in the rafters.
Right.
And 2, they need to create a statue. And they may not do the statue until they figure out the arena.
Right.
If they're going to redo the arena, they may wait on that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think those 2 things, that's got to be something that the new ownership needs to look at right away, because the people want that.
Yeah.
They'll do the jersey next year. I don't have any inside information. It's just a gut feeling. They'll do that next year.
It's not KG's fault, but everyone keeps asking about it. I'm to the point now where when he does finally show up at Target Center, I might boo him. Boy, they smoke a lot of grass.
Yeah, they do.
Odds makers are saying that openly Canadian former NBA MVP and Hall of Famer Steve Nash might be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns.
That'd be great.
That would be cool.
I'd watch every press conference. I love that guy.
He's very funny.
He is.
Word is Nash is in the mix to be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns, but so is Sam Cassell and his oversized nuts.
Yeah. Sam Cassell's put in his dues in the coaching ranks.
Yeah. He's
I mean, if Chauncey Billups is out there coaching, he's with the Trailblazers, he's got a new contract.
Been an assistant for many years, Sam Cassell.
Yep.
The Suns have the Durantula, of course, but they're expected to trade him to the Timberwolves in the offseason.
I was going to say, they have him now. They may not have him then.
Trade him to the Timberwolves in the offseason.
No.
Yeah, they are.
No. Want no part of that.
Yeah, but they're going to do it anyway, whether you want to be part of it or not.
That's true. They might not run it by you.
They're going.
You don't think so?
They will trade the Durantula to the Timberwolves in the offseason. You heard it here first. All right, there you go. We might as well get her going. We got a special guest coming in studio. But Randy and Brad, welcome to Penisville.
One more question.
One more question to the mayor? Yes, my son.
One more question to the mayor of Penisville. This is from an outdoorsman who had an inquiry for you that loves to go camping. Your thoughts on policies for pitching tents? Can you do it anywhere? Are there designated
There are designated areas. You'll see the signs. There'll be signs posted as to where you can and cannot pitch a tent.
That's very important information.
And speaking of outdoors, too, Josh, somebody also wanted to know, when it rains, what color are the showers in Penisville?
I don't know if I get that one.
Well, I do. I just don't want to.
Oh, okay.
And when it gets cold, the population decreases.
I just got it.
I'm sorry, Brad. When it's cold, what happens?
The population decreases.
There's just less room to get around. Yeah. All right,
and also, you can't use the mayor's name in vain, somebody said earlier.
Come on.
Don't do that.
Should we continue this tomorrow?
I don't know. I don't know if it's burned out or if it's still great. I can't tell.
Thanks, Brad Ryder, Randy Shaver.
Yep.
See ya.
We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast, people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks, as always, for listening to the podcast. And, of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.
NBA veteran Jim Jackson takes you on the court.
You get a chance to dig into my 14-year career in the NBA and also get the input from the people that will be joining. Charles Barkley.
I'm excited to be on your podcast, man. It's an honor.
Spike Lee, entrepreneur, filmmaker, Academy Award winner.
Knicks fans.
So, now you see, I got you. But also how sports brings life, passion, music, all of this together.
The Jim Jackson Show, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
It's Dr. Andrea.
Here to save you about $5,000 and answer your pet questions. It's Dr. Andrea.
On the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Welcome back to the program. It's 8:33. Joining us in studio to help you out, Dr. Andrea Johnston from a joint called Gurman Animal Hospital in Minnetonka. If you have a concern involving your pet, feel free to text. And Dr. Andrea will try to straighten you out one way or another. Welcome back, Dr. Andrea.
Thank you. Good morning.
Fresh off a vacation in Costa Rica.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Wonderful time.
That was great.
Hot.
So hot.
Yeah.
Like how hot we talking?
Like 100 degrees by 9 a.m.
Yuck.
Yeah, man.
No, thank you.
It was really, you couldn't do anything besides sit in a pool.
Yeah.
Or the ocean.
Sure. I was down there many years ago, and it did get really warm. Josh, you might even get down to a T-shirt.
I might have to if it's 100 degrees.
So hot.
You don't like
That's
to
terrible.
show much of your body.
No.
But when it hits 100 degrees, you might get down to a T-shirt.
Yeah, for sure.
651-989-9393 is the number if you'd like to text and ask Dr. Andrea a question about your wonderful, lovely little house pet. We begin like this here, Dr. Andrea, where a listener says or asks, has it been proven that secondhand smoke harms dogs and cats because they say, I love cigarettes? Loves cigarettes.
That's a good question. We get that question all the time when we take x-rays of dogs and cats. They just don't live long enough to prove that they can get something like that. But I do see cats get feline asthma from secondhand smoke.
Okay.
And I also see little white Westies, West Highland White Terriers. They get pulmonary fibrosis, and secondhand smoke can make it worse.
Now, when a dog gets asthma, do you give them a little puffy thing?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, cats. It's called an arrow cat. You put the inhaler on the end. They have a little mask, and you give them a little puff.
Oh, I kind
It's cute.
I want to watch some YouTube videos of that.
What about those tracheotomies?
And then your cat meows like that.
Oh.
I've done a couple of those emergency ones where you stick it. I mean, it comes to the point where sometimes you need a big pen to get in there. I've never had to use that.
I mean, it sounds terrible, but I kind of want to go get a cat with asthma.
Oh, it is really cute,
Put
Nick.
a little face mask on him.
Oh, my God.
You just start smoking to give him asthma.
Take a
Blowing
little
it in his face.
Take a little breath there, Tunsis, and you'll be all right. All right. It's a good question.
Got another cat question.
Love cigarettes.
This time from Lady Mechanic Jesus, who said she has a big orange murderous tomcat, very good at catching mice. However, lately he's been decapitating the mice and eating their heads.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Will eating mouse heads cause my cat to have any health problems?
So I would get that cat frequently checked for worms. That's the big one, roundworms. They can get that from eating rodents. So, yes, get it checked for parasites.
Wonder why he's eating the head.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems like the most difficult part of the mouse to...
I mean, they're like barbaric. They can do weird stuff like that.
I've always loved having a cat who is a good mouser. I don't have any... In my current house, I think we've had 1 or 2 mice, and the cat did take care of them.
Yeah.
But at my old house, we would have some real problems, and it was fun to watch. I got to admit, it was fun to watch.
It doesn't surprise me that they go for the head, because I don't know if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, the conversation came up about your pets eating you after you pass away.
Yeah.
And I learned that cats like to eat the brain. They like to go for the head first.
So they're like zombies. They have a taste for brains.
Yeah, maybe that's the good part.
Oh, a person here says it's the best way to gain knowledge.
Right. I think I've seen that in a couple of horror movies. Where, we're going cats here, for starters at least. And speaking of the noggin, a listener has a cat, 14 pounds. And the owner believes that this cat has an undersized head. Is having a small head for his body going to cause any problems? Have you ever heard of something like that before? He says he thinks his cat's head is too small.
Well, usually if they have a small head, that means that their body's too fat.
Yeah.
But they just are not proportional.
Not proportional.
I don't know. There's some cats that are 14 pounds that should be 8 pounds. So, even though that might be an average weight for a cat, that cat might have a smaller frame.
I believe this is a tabby, if that means anything to you.
I'd say probably 14's pushing it in terms of weight.
I want to see what this cat looks like.
Yeah. Oh, imagine Nick having a fat cat with asthma. Would that be the perfect cat for you?
The two of us can't even cross the room.
I love fat cats.
Taking a hit
That cat
about.
would get diabetes, too, and then you'd be given shots as well.
Oh, we don't want diabetes cats.
Is that really unhealthy for a cat to be fat? I mean, I'm sure it's not healthy.
We see so many overweight cats with diabetes.
Ow. I love fat cats.
So bad for them.
Maybe because of Garfield as a kid. I don't know.
So maybe for this individual who texted in, maybe help your cat lose a few pounds and then check out his appearance and whether or not you think his head is too tiny for the rest of his body.
Yep.
Iron Range Jesus has a husky lab, 9 years old. Just noticed 2 cysts on his back. They haven't grown, but he's wondering if he should worry or not.
I'd get those checked out. I would get them sampled it's a simple procedure. You just take a tiny needle and poke it and put it on a slide and look under the microscope. And if you can't figure out what that is, then you can have it just removed and biopsied. But lumps can be deceiving sometimes. People think they might be benign, but they're more concerning, especially at that age.
9? Okay.
Yeah.
I got a big husky in my neighborhood, and I like watching that. I believe it's got to be the biggest husky in the county.
I love those dogs.
And when he walks by my picture window, I like to watch him kind of lumber by. And at least he appears to be making a facial expression to where he's thinking, I could kill everyone in the neighborhood if I wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not, because I'm a good boy. Speaking of huskies, I have another question here about a husky. 7-year-old goes ape in vehicles, can't sit still, screams like an angry chimp. Why and what could help this situation?
Yeah, I mean, huskies are vocal, right?
Yes.
That's
I
their
love
thing.
that.
They do it when they walk into the clinic. They are so vocal.
Yeah.
So either that dog's really excited it's going somewhere or really anxious it's going somewhere.
Okay.
We use a lot of trazodone for car travel and anxiety. And you give it a couple hours before the dog gets in the car, even before you let the dog know that you're leaving. Like, don't grab your keys or your purse or anything. Give the trazodone beforehand. You'd have to get it through your vet, and that can usually help with car travel.
Oh, man, my dogs go nuts when people walk by the house. I'd like to drug them up at times.
That would be Prozac, because you probably need it every day.
For me. I can't handle it some days.
Well, they're very vocal when someone.
I don't know if they're just like, get out of my yard or what.
Yeah.
So
If
it's
they're
kind of
outside, they're fine. But if people walk by the house, And God forbid if somebody delivers something.
Oh, it's game over.
I would say, like, how dare that neighbor have the audacity to walk down the sidewalk, while the dog is just going crazy.
It's an angry sounding bark?
I don't know. I mean, their barks are so loud. So I don't know if they're angry or if they just want to play. Or
What do you think would happen if you let them out the door?
Well, they're wimps, so I think they just go sniff them and say, what's up? Maybe force them to pet them.
Probably.
Dr. Andrea, this trazodone, is that the same drug that you can give to a cat if they hate the car, or is that too powerful for a...
Typically, we would give gabapentin for cats.
Yeah.
When they get in the car.
I have a cat who hates the car.
Stuff. Yeah.
And we load him up with gabapentin a couple hours before the car ride, and he gets a little high, and he does. It's funny because he wobbles around the house a little bit like he just came from a Pink Floyd experience or something. Okay, gabapentin, that's what the cats...
We love that for cats.
Yeah.
Especially really naughty ones.
Yeah.
I also really love it for my dog.
Yeah, it works for dogs too.
She doesn't like it though.
Helicopter Fixerer Jesus has a question about a lab cattle dog mix, almost 10. When she gets very excited or tired, one of the rear leg trembles. Could this be a sign of some hip problems?
It could be a sign of arthritis for sure, and just overuse, or if she's bouncing around and then unfortunately kind of overworked it, it's going to get a little bit weak and shake. So we all feel that at an age.
Would you bring the dog in, or?
As long as the dog's not limping on it and it's not limiting exercise or activity, it's not crying out in pain, I would watch it. If it gets worse, then the dog should get some x-rays.
Got a little shaky leg happening, shaky. My legs stay active. Maybe I need...
Mine are...
Yeah.
You have like one leg and my both legs.
You wiggle them both?
Yeah.
All right, we're talking about a little puppy now. We're chatting with Dr. Andrea Johnston from Gurman Animal Hospital in Minnetonka. 651-989-9393 is the number if you have a question about your pet. We're talking about a little puppy. It sounds like this listener is curious to dump some genetic testing on the puppy to find out if it's purebred or not. Is it accurate? Would you recommend genetic testing for a puppy?
Yeah, I think they're fun. They're super fun, especially with those dogs that come from like a adoption facility, and you're like, what is this dog?
Mm-hmm.
You're shocked about what it comes out as. There's always a percentage of unknown. Like it'll be like 30% lab, 20%, German short hair or whatnot. But in a purebred, that is nice to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Wisdom Panel. It's a cheek swab. You can order it online. I think it's
That's
like
the
60.
brand?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
$60-$70. You swab the inside of the dog's cheek and mail it in.
Oh.
And then they email you back the result.
We did that on one of our dogs, our dog Bruin, the Catahoula leopard dog, and it also told
what
us
dog?
A Catahoula leopard dog.
Catahoula leopard.
It's the state dog of Louisiana. Anyway, it also told us about other people that also took the DNA test for their dog. It would show like his cousins, if he's somehow related to other dogs. It was super sweet.
It's crazy.
But I bet you don't even need that test, do you, Dr. Andrea? You probably can pretty accurately guess just by sight.
With a lot of the dogs from the South, though, coming up, especially during COVID, you'd be shocked at some of the breeds that I hadn't even heard of, mixed in with other breeds. There's like the tree walking hound. They have a lot of hound dogs in the South, obviously, and there's some interesting breeds.
Ashley owning the official dog of, how did you say it again?
The state dog of Louisiana.
Yeah.
Owning the state dog of Louisiana, does it get really excited come college football season?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
LSU games on television.
Big fan.
We got to take a break, but we have time for more. 651-989-9393 if you have a question for our veterinarian, Dr. Andrea Johnston.
It's Dr. Andrea
on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Here we are back with our guest, Dr. Andrea Johnston, from Gurman Animal Hospital in Minnetonka, answering questions that our listening audience has texted in about their pets. Have you always been wildly popular?
No.
The text machine just implodes. You've always been popular in every damn thing you've done.
Yeah, right.
Thank you so much for coming in, Dr. Andrea. A few more questions are, are popping up. This is just kind of a cute little story here. Wine guy Jesus said that his cat is addicted to YouTube cat string videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Do you know I don't know those videos.
I'm guessing what I think is them playing with yarn, other cats playing with.
So it's watching other cats playing with yarn?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like the cat.
They're not attacking the screen.
Well, it says when his wife so the cat watches YouTube cat string videos on his wife's cell phone, and when his wife tries to use her cell phone to make a phone call, the cat attacks her and wants her to put on more string videos.
That's the cat version of people who watch other people play video games. Something they could be doing themselves, but they prefer to watch other people do it.
Yeah.
Watching other cats play with string.
I looked it up, and it's not even the cats playing with the string. It's literally just a string on video.
That's kind of what I figured.
Oh, okay.
So it's just watching string flutter in the air.
That's adorable.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the guy was wondering if he should cut his cat off from this or what. I think he's going to be fine.
Totally.
My dogs are jerks about if you got to give them attention, otherwise they're going to make you. And there's one in particular, he'll slap the device right out of your hand.
I've got one of those.
Do you really?
They punch you?
Yeah, he knows if you're like looking at your phone or something, he'll just slap it right out. And I warned a guy that was working on our house and said, hey, just so you know, if he's wanting you to pet him, and you got a phone, I'd put that in your pocket. Because he'll take it. And he's done it to him a couple times. Loves it.
Cute.
There's a question of Uber Jesus, another husky. This is a husky shepherd mix. Constantly licking everything. Paws, legs, hips, blanket, couch, bed, pillows, or dog bed. Understanding that we don't bathe her maybe as much as we should. What are some tips to curb the licking?
Yeah, so I usually think of that if they're licking inanimate objects. I worry about reflux, actually. That's a big one. So if they've got like some gastroesophageal reflux, then that could be causing some discomfort and they lick. So you could try some Pepcid AC over the counter. If the dog's over 20-ish pounds, I do 10 milligrams twice a day and see if that works.
All my dogs do that.
I just hope one of my uncles doesn't come down with that or anything. That'd be terrible.
What about those?
I mean, the other thing is behavioral, too. If they just like to lick and that's the way they self-soothe is licking things.
What about those cute little nibbles they do with like their front teeth? Does that mean anything?
Oh, yeah, we get that a lot.
Yeah, my dog does that on my husband's beard. It's very sweet. It's just kind of an endearing, taking care, like a monkey kind of picking at another monkey.
That can hurt sometimes.
That's so sweet.
It means they love you and they want to take care of you.
Oh.
Or they think you're gross. One of the two. You got to clean you.
Someone out there's got a little Shih Tzu. And they call him Corn Chip because he smells like a bag of Fritos.
Oh, love that.
Our dog has the same problem. But his skin is flaky and losing hair. He gets fed a lot of human food. Could the human food be related to this?
It's possible it's a food allergy. I would add fish oils into that dog's diet, see if that helps, or get salmon as the protein in the food. If it's like a snowstorm when you pet the dog, there is a condition called ichthyosis where they just have dandruff. It doesn't hurt. It's not painful, but it's not pretty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to take those fish oil pills back when I was really into lifting and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate the smell of those.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a pet at one point where we were giving it fish oils. This must have been quite a few pets ago because now I don't remember many details. But you get any of that on your hands, it's there until the day that you die.
And the burps are terrible.
Oh, I was just going to ask Josh if they gave you the burps too, because when I used to do them too, they gave me the fish burps were the worst.
What would you do? Put them you put it in your sandwich or something? What do you thought?
How just take it like a pill.
Oh.
It's like a supplement.
Rectally.
Right.
Dan says, my golden retriever often has a runny nose. What causes this? And is it a cause for concern?
Well, it depends. If it's just like clear discharge, that's not worrisome. Some dogs have a little bit of postnasal drip, but if it's like mucousy, yellow, green, I would worry about that and should get checked out.
What kind of things do you think of?
Well, sometimes they can get like plant-ons and grasses stuck up in there and cause like an inflammatory reaction. We see fungal infections in the nose. Sometimes pneumonia can present that way too with greenish discharge from the nose.
Yikes. This is an interesting one to me. Wondering if you can figure it out right away. My friend's dog. You're concerned about your friend's dog. What a nice person. Pit bull has a long, dangly nipple thing hanging from her belly. We want to know. Well, you're very involved in your friend's We want to know if we could just tie it off and it'll fall off on its own, or should we not do that? Do you know about this nipple?
Yes, and that's not the first time I've gotten that question either.
Really?
Yeah, they're just like benign skin tags that are what we call pedunculated. So they have like a stalk and look like a deflated balloon.
Oh.
Don't try and put something around it to cut off circulation. They're very easy to remove, but the dog would probably have to be sedated to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever hearing about that.
They're funny to look at, but they're typically harmless.
Exotic Metals Jesus has a dog that had IMHA 6 months ago. He's recovered now, due for vaccines. Which ones are safe for a dog that hunts?
So I would worry about vaccinating a dog with immune-mediated hemolytic anemia. That's what it is. So the body's attacking the red blood cells, so they present anemic and really, really sick. Anything that stimulates the immune system can make things flare up again. So rabies is really the only one I would consider, unfortunately. I mean, obviously talk with your vet, but that is a red flag to be very careful with vaccinating.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about a dizzy dog? Here's a listener whose dog gets dizzy like your grandma when she gets out of her chair too fast. I have a 10-year-old Box, short for boxer, I would imagine, who appears to have dizzy spells when she exerts herself too much. What could this be?
I'd worry about that with a boxer and heart disease. So boxers, they're like the poster dog for heart disease.
Oh,
so
no.
I'd get that checked out.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She gets a little dizzy.
Oh, this person has a Malamute. Is that
Alaskan Malamute.
Those dogs are great.
Crazy dogs.
They're pretty.
It's a tough one to say.
I can't say it, but I love him. He doesn't mind getting brushed until we get to his tail or hind end, and he goes nuts and wants to nip at the brush. Is that a highly sensitive area typically?
Well, there might be some hip pain there too, so I'd get that checked out.
Oh.
Or if they've had previous like trauma or rectal exams back there, sometimes they'll never forget it and not want to be.
What if I started grabbing at your bottom? Josh, you might react to that a little bit. Oh no, dogs can remember a bad rectal exam.
Yeah, they have those. Yeah, for sure.
Because I forget mine right away. I do. I can move on very easily.
I got one of those coming up.
Oh yeah, you do, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Colonoscopy.
For Christ's sake.
I hope you guys show up this time.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be tailgating early.
You left me hanging last time.
Before we go, one more question on my end, and it's about ticks.
The worst.
I'm not exactly sure what they mean by this. Well, maybe I'll understand it after I read it out loud again. Is it safer to physically remove ticks from our dogs or to give them frontline or the edible tick meds? Are there long-term effects from these medications?
The medications for sure are very effective and safe. Dogs don't live long enough to see like the major long-term effects from preventatives, and the benefits outweigh the risks.
Okay. So
110%.
I was picturing this guy just allowing the dog to get ticks and pulling them off.
No, because by that time, the tick's probably already transmitted the Lyme disease and anaplasma and whatnot.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do
my
that.
dog has had one of those weird tick diseases because, she's a black lab, so it's hard to find anything on her. She's got thick fur, too. And she was so sick. And it took, maybe a month to get her back to normal after that.
Well, and they have long-term side effects from it forever if they are tick-borne positive.
Jesus.
Yeah. Just like people.
Dr. Andrea remembers the dachshund that I had that lived for 400 years. I had a girlfriend at the time who took the dog up north. You mind if because I went somewhere out of town. You mind if I take Ozzy up north? I said, yeah, go ahead. I figured she knew what the hell she was doing. She let the damn dog run through the woods for 2 days.
No.
When she brought him home, he was mostly tick.
Oh, gross.
Oh, I've never seen anything like it. When I was like, hey, man, how are you? I hadn't seen him in a couple days. He was just crawling with the damn things. I said, what the hell did you do to this? And he ended up getting Lyme's disease. Keep an eye on my dog, for Pete's sake, when you take him for the week. He had the time of his life. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't complaining.
Yeah.
But
I hate her now.
It was like a horror movie when Well, she was the same one who took him for the weekend and gave him $300 dog food when all he'd been ever eating is, regular dog food. He's sick. He's spraying diarrhea.
Dude, I hope this woman doesn't have a pet. She's not good at it.
She has children.
Oh, no. Tick-filled children.
Yes, children covered in ticks, I would imagine.
And they all have diarrhea.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Andrea.
You're welcome.
As usual, we've had a good time.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Love it.
to see you. Thanks
you.
for answering all the questions. Apologies to the folks we weren't able to get to. As Nick said, the texts come in like crazy during the segment. Happy birthday to Finley, turning the big 02 today. Happy 70th to Gary, a.k.a. Papa. Folgers Can Jesus texting a birthday shout-out to his beautiful girlfriend, Kyla. Thank you for your patronage this morning, or if you're a podcaster, whenever we're lucky enough to have you listening. Hope you join us again tomorrow.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
You gotta be kidding me. Who greenlit this garbage?
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, there's my beautiful podcast people. Everybody good? All right, great to hear. Thanks as always for listening to the podcast. And of course, thanks to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for making it all possible. Can we believe it's April already? And like the old saying goes, April showers brings gross, disgusting humidity and heat in May. Beat the heat and the summer rush. Have Standard Heating and Air Conditioning out to work on that AC soon. April is the best month to get your air conditioning wrenched on before the huge summer rush starts. So get on that today. Go to standardheating.com and schedule that AC tune-up. Thanks for listening. We love you podcasters. Enjoy the show.